Perfect. 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 Perfect.
Yeah. Well, all right. Like you always say, welcome, welcome, welcome. Number one sports talking D. We ain't like the Falcons, we won't blow the lead. Look, all we talk is who that, who got cut and who back. Rookies and the vets, players you should look at. It's the sports coma, you don't wanna miss it. Got the pre-game, party, post-game statistics. Get a visit from Sway, maybe DC or 5. It's the hottest thing smoking, Big Q and the guys. Go to YouTube Live, make sure you subscribe. Interviews inside the Saints locker room high. Talk to Drew, Jordan, Zach, Payton, New Orleans, who that nation. Best believe when I say we bleed gold and black. Ain't a miracle or rivalry could ever hold us back. No, Beastquake, Bounty Gate, let the truth be told. It's the sports coma, all we know is say Super Bowl. Yeah.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
What's going on, fam? What's good with it? Great, stuff going on in the Sports Coma Nation. The great Saints think tank is in live in effect, baby, and it's good to see the beautiful black and gold family members on a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous Sunday afternoon. Absolutely gorgeous. Sorry I'm late, family. We were recording the On Q with Big Q, and usually it's a 40-minute show, but we had to unpack a lot of really great information. So like I say, On Q Big Q goes out to all of our Patreon people. It is on patreon.com/the PRO Media Network if you want to listen to the show. So, it kind of made me late for the sports coma, but fam, I'm here. And I apologize to you, but big ups to the family members in the building as well. Appreciate you. True Louisiana, who that to you? Joshua Hoover, who that to you? Derek L., who that to you? Kenny Sutton, who that to you? All the family. Heavy C. Henderson, who that to you? Jerome, who that to you? 985 Live, thank you for joining the Patreon Champions family. Big up to you. Much love to you. Thank you, sir. Who else we got here? John Mueller, who that to you? John, he says, no matter what, it's going to be an exciting year in New Orleans. Thank you, John. Who that to you? Tyrone Jones, who that to you? Tyrone says no sound, Big Q. I'm pretty sure that's been rectified. Hit the chat up. Let me know, Tyrone, if I'm coming in loud and clear, fam. Kyle Walter, who that to you? Good to see you. Randy McGovern, who that to you? Let's see who else we have here. Shouts out to all my family members before I get into it. Dallas Allen, I see you, Dallas. Big ups to you as well. Randy McGovern, big ups as well. Let's see who else we got here. School, my dog Scoob in the building as well. New iPad, who that to you as well. 8 Ward Zach 41, big ups to your family. Keep up the positiveness. I see you. Kelvin Washington from Phoenix, Arizona. Big ups to you, Kelvin. Good to see you, family. Big ups to you. And all the beautiful black and gold family members chiming in as well. Diehard Saints fan, big up. He says, Big Q, man, we got crab legs now. I hope and pray we bought Tampa Playbook over with him. At the sports, hashtag the sports coma, the best sports show. Thank you, fam. Diehard, much love to you, bro. Appreciate you. Louis, Louis Caleste. I hope I pronounced that right. Louis, who that to your family? Thank you for joining us here as well. Dominic, who that to you? Dominic, big ups to you. Derek L., who that to you? My boy Derek, much love. Chris Moorhead, what up, Chris? Who that to you as well? Javier, what up, Javier? Big ups to you, Javier. Good to see you, fam. Superstar Louisiana boy, who that to you? Let's see Charles Mayfield as well. Elite Goods, what up, Elite? Good to see your family in the chat. Let's see who else we got. Demi, who that to you? Demi. Hindi and Newton, what up, family? Good evening to you. Donald Jones, what up, Donald? How you doing, sir? Big ups to you. Black and Gold, Gold Black and Gold. That's right, perfect. Who that to you as well? Big family members, good to see you. Much love to you. Road Dog, it's me. What up, Road Dog? It's been a minute, fam. Good to see you. Neville, what up, Neville? Derry Sampy, what up, Derry? Big ups to you. And the family members chiming in. Devin, who that Devin? Appreciate you on the stream, fam. Much love to you. Big ups to you. Let's see who else we got here chiming in. DLP 2600. What up, DLP? Let's see. Jason King, Trail Hatch. Let's see who else we got here. Kevin McKnight. What up, Kevin? Denzel Jackson. What up, fam? Ernest Adams Jr. What up, Ernest? How you doing, man? Big ups to you as well. Troy Thompson, my dog Troy Thompson in the building. Let's see Ramsey. What up, Ramsey? Ramsey's wall said, I told y'all the Saints were looking at famous Jameis Winston. Good grief. Gonna go into your family. Kelvin Griffin, who that to your family? Ricky Jones, what up, Ricky? How you doing, fam? Much love to you. Big ups to you in the chat as well. Larry Williams, what up, Larry? Caution, who that to you? Torrey Shepard Sr., who that to you? Tyra, who that to you? And all the beautiful black and gold family members in the building. If I missed you, please shout me out at the chat and I'll make sure I drop it on your family. Let's see, Kevin, GM Kev, what up, Kev, in the building. He says, I'm about to go check out On Q with Big Q. Nation of Suckers. Henry Bastion, who that to you, Henry? I see you there. Hennessy, I'm sorry. Hennessy Bastion, what up to you, Hennessy? Big ups to you. JT, what up, JT? I see you, fam. Big ups to you. Charles Spain, what's up, fam? Wayne Bradley, what up, Wayne? How you doing, fam? Big ups to you. And all the family members chiming in. So if I missed your family, please hit the like button. Please shoot if I missed your name, if you're in the chat, because I know we usually have people that listen that don't. Hit the chat up. If you are in the chat, Scoob the DJ, I see your family. Who that to you? If you're in the chat, let me shoot me a who that to you, and I'll give you a shout out, family. I want to acknowledge all the beautiful black and gold family members with this one. But anyway, I'd like to thank all the beautiful Black and Gold family members for joining us for this show. It's entitled Saints News. Saints re-up with Taysom Hill and signed Jameis Winston to a contract. Really interesting move by the Saints. After going through the draft, they have, I ain't going to say it's a controversial draft, the way it basically broke down. But if you look at it, the Saints did build up their offensive line as well as the defensive line, and then got a very athletic wide receiver as well. Okay, Sir Eculeptus, I hope that I pronounced that right. Sir Eculeptus, who that to you? Good to see you. Thank you, family, for joining us as well. Big ups to you. And that's some of the things, in this one we're going to talk about. Also, I'm going to go over the list and see if there's any more current undrafted free agents. Larry F. Dickerson, Sr. What up, Larry? How you doing, sir? Marty Frost, who that to you? Thank you, Coop Tube 72, just joined the Great Saints Think Tank. Thank you, family. Marty Frost, William Musgrove, Cheryl. What up, Cheryl? Who that to you? In the building, who that Big Q? And the family, we got some things to definitely address today. Thank you, Cheryl. Much love to you. Carolyn, what up, Carolyn? How you doing? She says, Hill is clearly not the future. We got another critical thinking Saints family member in the building. What's good with you, Carolyn? Larry, thank you, family. Larry F. Dickerson became a pro superstar. Thank you as well, Larry. Appreciate that, family. Much love to you. Big ups to the family. What up, Derek Summerfield? What up, fam? What's good with it, fam? Derek Summerfield in the building. Big D, what's good with you, homie? Man, that's what I'm talking about, family. Good to see the family members in the live stream. Now, in this one, we're going to talk about it. Taysom Hill re-signing. We're going to also talk about Jameis Winston. Now, it's a number of surprises that occurred. To be quite honest with you, that was really something else, to be real with you. Really to be something with you. Who that to you, Coop 72. Thank you for subscribing, family. Much love. Welcome to the Great Saints Think Tank, family. 985, you ain't see my comment, Q? No, I didn't see it, fam. What you talking about on Patreon? I think, I like to say I appreciate you, family, for joining that Patreon, family. Much love to you, 985. I appreciate that, man. Much love to you, brother. Appreciate you. And let's see, Kasha said, I thought we were getting Mason fine. Look like not. Big Sam the Candy Man, welcome to the Pro Stars. Much love for you. Thank you for that, fam. Good to see you. Thank you. Dada, what up, Dada? Big ups to my boy Dada as well as he joining it. Big ups to you. Now, we're going to cover that today. We're going to do the undrafted thing as well in this Sports Coma edition. We're going to, okay, he said no. What you talking about, 985? I ain't get your comment, bro. Be kind of busy this morning, bro. Willie Mitchell, what up, Willie? Dallas says, I'm calling it now. Sean Payton is going to run the offense around Jameis Winston in the future. Taysom's not going to be the future quarterback if Taysom has an issue. Replacement is near. Thank you, Big Sam Candyman, joining the Pro Stars. Much love. Thank you for your support, sir. Much love to you. Derek says, Big Sam, appreciate the support. Thank you, Derek, for addressing that. But nah, bro, I didn't see it, 985, man. Put it in the chat, brother. I'll be doing a lot. Ernest Adams says Cam could have been good here. Crab legs won't make the business decision a big game. We're going to see, man, because I wasn't definitely against the Jameis Winston signing. Clint F, what up, Clint F? Who that to you, fam? Tramal and the family. New Hive Culture, what up? He says, Big Q, Payton about to fix Winston, right? I don't think anybody could fix Winston, man. Well, we're going to see, man. We're going to see because the problem is he has the talent, but he's a head case. He is a head case. And usually if you're a head case like that, you don't have the discipline to correct or rectify the wrongs. And I'm not saying that he's not capable of it. I just don't know if he realizes what the problem is. The talent is not the problem with Jameis Winston. It's the head. The psychology of his mind. He's dysfunctional to a degree. Well, I don't know if a coach could do that. You can give him the instruction, but he has to execute it. He has to instruct, has to organize this and get himself under control. And he has a rampant track listing or what is it? What's the word I'm searching for? A history. There you go. He has a history. Thank you, Charles Spain. Thank you, Def. Appreciate the donation, fam. Much love to you. Big up. Ernest says, stop it, Q. I mean, he has a history of just doing really strange and really questionable decisions mentally, and that's been from college into the pros. And those people gave him 5 years to discover what he could be. Change of scenery could possibly help. We'll see how that works because he'll be playing from a backup's perspective and he can learn a lot from that. It's just all on him. Demetric Holmes, who that? Yen Grant, who that to you? Yen, good to see your family. Big ups to you as well. Demetric's, much love to you. I see your family in the building. 90 fans. I said, wait, Q. Look behind you. It's a it's a roach. No, it's not a roach. It's Malcolm Roach. Hey, look at the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. Who is it? It's the flying roach. Malcolm. What up, Malcolm? What up, fam? How you doing? John Mueller. What up, John? Who that to you? Dallas says Jamie was our best option at quarterback for free agency. CD4 Epco says if Payton, I hope I'm saying that right, fam. CDW4 Epco says if Winston is the future, we must bout to build a top 2 defense because they're gonna be on the field a lot. Go black and gold says we just got to work on his decision making. A lot of we're going to see, fam. We're going to see. A lot of this is in Jameis Winston's court. This is not instruction from it because he had the best coaches. He's had the best offensive coaches. Dirk Cutter was a really good quarterbacks coach. He really was. Change of scenery could help, but this is in Jameis Winston's court. The ball is in his court, literally. He has to be able to correct mental issues and lapses that he's been suffering. The talent's always been there, but he makes questionable decisions, and I mean on and off the field. You know, and that just won't fly down here. We'll see how it go, though. I'm willing to give anybody a chance. He ain't my favorite pickup, but I'm a covering. I'm going to get more into it, fam. Darrell Freeman, who that to you? I see you, Darrell. Much love to you. Thank you for joining us on the live stream here. Ernest says you heard his post-championship interview. FSU was not academic road for him. Kelvin says Cam always hurt. He ain't good nowhere. Crab legs, you're about. He said your boy at heart. At Harrell. Scoob, he said he could play. He can stay mentally stable. Thank you, Scoob. That's well said. Jameis is way immature. That's where it starts. I'm still mad about Teddy. I hear you, Derek. No, much love, fam. They tried to go after him, but I told you, when you damage a relationship of trust like Sean Payton did, when he automatically named Taysom Hill as the franchise and just alienated Teddy Bridgewater, then tried to go back to him to renegotiate, it wasn't happening. And I told you he mishandled it. We did a video about it. Said this Sean Payton mishandled the QB situation. And I said, yeah, he sure did. Then he tried to go back and sign the guy. The guy said, no, I don't trust you. I'm not going to play with you. I'm not going to play for you. I can't trust you. The trust was broken. The original arrangement was for Teddy Bridgewater to take the job after Drew Brees retired. What did Sean Payton then do? He begged Drew Brees back for a year, maybe 2. Alienated Teddy Bridgewater by telling Taysom Hill that he's the future of the team, which he knew he wasn't. He was just trying to keep him there to use him as a gimmick man. So, I mean, in the end, it backfired on him. Now he's selling for Jameis Winston and his quarterback, who is a Taysom Hill clone from Mississippi State. I still don't understand the reason why you would need a Taysom Hill clone and not a Drew Brees clone. Could you please make sense of that to me? See, that's what type of person I'm at. You can't sit up here and tell me, Q, that's why he did it, because he's a Taysom Hill clone. He's Taysom 2.0, this kid out of Mississippi State. Okay, where the hell is Drew Brees 2.0? Why didn't you set about the goal during the draft to find Drew Brees 2.0? But you trade back up into the 7th round to get this guy who probably was what might have been available as an undrafted guy. It's just ridiculous to me how a lot of this stuff fares out. Ice Cream Man 504, what up, fam? Debo the guy, what up, Debo? Good to see you in the stream as well. Much love to you. Travis 504, big ups to you, fam. Good to see you in there. Wayne, also good to see you. Shout out to you. Says they're usually Winston for the future draft picks. Big Q. I got you, fam. Thank you. Now let's get it going, family. Let's start off in the stream by getting going and starting with the main story that we have. And just give me a second. I'll share the screen with you. And we'll talk about this one off top. And this is what the Saints are up to. Saints make Taysom Hill one of the highest paid backup QBs in the NFL over the next 2 years. New Orleans Saints eliminated any doubt regarding Taysom Hill's status with the franchise. New Orleans have signed him to a 2-year extension, making him one of the highest paid backups in the NFL. His deal will be $21 million with $16 million guaranteed with the average annual salary of $10.5, making him the second highest backup quarterback in the league. Brissett is the first with $15 million behind Phillip Rivers in Indianapolis. Mariota is the third with about 18.8 in Las Vegas with the Raiders. And Hill was originally set to make 4.64 this season with that first round tender. New Orleans is potentially adding another quarterback as early as Sunday. And they knew about the impending Jameis Winston story, which we'll follow next. He says he will compete with Hill for the number 2 job and heir apparent to Drew Brees. With this deal in place, the Saints are paying Hill for his role on offense and making a significant commitment to him as a backup quarterback going forward. I do not believe that part. An undrafted free agent in 2017, New Orleans has used Hill as a gadget player that can line up at quarterback. Another dimension on Hill. Hill's thrown 13 passes. That's right, only 13 in his 3 years, 13 passes, but has been a force running the ball after receiving the snap as a pass catcher option for Brees. This past season, Hill's 27 carries, 156 yards, averaged just under 6 yards a carry, and 19 catches for 234 yards and 7 touchdowns, 6 receiving. Now, 19 catches for him. I think Traquan Smith had like 17 catches. Hill was the Saints' most dynamic offensive weapon in the playoffs. An FC wildcard loss to the Vikings, and then might I add just total overusage of Taysom Hill. Total overusage is just to the dumberment of the offense. When you have so many offensive weapons trickulating, you can't just force feed heavy Taysom Hill because you're too damn lazy to then work on developing the wide receiver rooms and the running back rooms and the tight end rooms so that the team could be strong overall. I keep going to this gadget mentality. The gadget stuff is only stuff that you throw in between. It's not meant to be a based offensive system, which is what he's trying to do, which I disagree with. This gadget type crap won't get you to the Super Bowl. Fundamental Super Bowl principles, football principles, like running the ball and stopping the run and having a balanced offense is what it takes to get to a Super Bowl. Not gimmicky crap like throwing your gimmick gadget quarterback at it. I get kind of pissed about it because people buy into anything. It's not there. Despite the fact that he won a Super Bowl, he didn't win it with all that gadget crap. We had an actual stable offense with an incredible wide receiver group, a really good running back group, a good tight end by committee group, and we would circulate those and run 4 and 5 wide receiver sets and 3 wide receiver running back packages, 3 tight end packages, stuff like that. You know, you can't tell me everything. Saints make Taysom Hill highest backup in one of the second highest backup in the NFL 2-year extension. Okay, let's move to the next story. Jameis Winston. Saints go all in again. This time, Jameis Winston will come to the Saints, and where it's Lombardi or bust, the Saints clearly not worried about 2 years down the road and are taking the polar opposite route as the Packers. Now, let's look at the story. Say Atlanta can field the starting offense, all first-round picks. Tampa Bay Buccaneers got Brady, Rob Gronkowski out of retirement. The Saints, by far, have the best quarterback room in the league. The veritable arm race taking place in the NFC South has been the most exciting part of this unpredictable NFL season. But you have to add the fact that the Saints have now thrown Jameis Winston in there. He signed a 1-year deal with the team. And let's see, before Drew headed to the booth in NBC, you're looking at this type of situation where we'll see who takes the Ram. Now, who knows? They'll work Winston's contract in this year's salary cap. New Orleans had $3.5 million in space by Sunday morning, and that's before Taysom's contract extension. And of course, we're not really worried about that because Larry Warford will definitely be the guy that has something to do with kind of changing that a bit, if you know what I mean. Larry Warford would be the main reason why this deal will work because Larry Warford's on the other. So, you know, it's just more of the same, man, with the Jameis Winston stuff. So, I mean, that's some of my take on it. Just momentarily, we're going to go over the fact here. Now, just to talk about Jameis Winston, people know I'm not a fan of Jameis Winston. I don't hide that. Y'all know I don't hide that. I don't hide that one stinking bit. But what I don't like about Jameis Winston is, like I just said earlier in the show, which is, the fact that he's a guy that just is just totally undisciplined. He's totally immature, and to be a starting level quarterback and you have to command the team, and he's kind of a weirdo to a degree. like the eating of the W's, the stupidness he did when he pushed the Marshawn Lattimore's helmet. And he was on the sideline suspended, I think, at the time when he did that. And he still was foolish enough to do that and institute a fight on the side of the. It's just foolishness like that. All the other stuff he do that's questionable mentally. Stuff like the Uber thing and all that. He lucky he got out of that. And it's a history of him beating stuff like that. The people that really have influence and money helping this dude keep his ass out of jail. So it's really strange. They went for Jameis Winston. But listen, man, we just gonna have to see how this works. I'm not a fan of Jameis Winston. He's under a 1-year contract. They did give Taysom Hill a multiple year contract, a 2-year deal at $25 million. Which was, you say, well, damn, Q, they broke the bank on him. That was interesting. I'm not going to tell you no different. That is very interesting to give him a 2-year deal, because I'm thinking in my head they would have just signed a tender. But perhaps I'm still saying, we'll see how it works from a quarterback perspective. But I just read you statistics that showed you Taysom Hill threw 13 passes over 3 years. What part of that means franchise quarterback to you? What part of that means franchise? That is absolutely against the traditional thought of football. If you only threw 13 passes over 3 years in the league and somebody's considered you a franchise quarterback, what do you say if you have good sense? I mean, literally, for real. I'm sorry. I that's just how I view it, But let's take a look at you see with Jameis Winston's contract situation. He said he turned down a better offer to pursue with other teams, but Jameis Winston, to me, man, he knows this is do or die for him. This is do or die for Jameis Winston on every level, though. Now, it was an interesting caveat that I read in one of the articles that was saying pretty much that now that Taysom Hill is under contract, they could use the franchise tag on Alvin Kamara, which I would think would be a major mistake. You don't have to do that on him. You don't have to put the franchise tag on Alvin Kamara. It's absolute nonsense. I don't think you should do that. Damone Horton, who that to your family? Good to see you in the live stream as well. Trevane Andrews and the rest of the family, good to see you in the live chat as well. Okay, 95 SQ don't like that pickup. I mean, I've never been a fan of Jameis Winston, man, because of obvious reasons. It's not the talent. He's just incredibly immature. But sitting behind a quarterback like Drew Brees, maybe he can learn something. He's never had that before. He never had to play behind a Hall of Fame quarterback and have somebody to show you how to do it. That is a big thing, because you could have a young player with all the talent in the world, but he might not have the the right routine or regiment to be able to hone his skills to be an impact and a force. Now, this is a good environment for such a thing because the locker room is a healthy locker room where people have fun, but they have fun after they've done their work. Like the good kid that go inside, do his homework, and after his homework, you go outside and go play. You can't tell them nothing. Did you do your homework? Yeah, I did it, Dad. And then they go outside and go, okay, you can go ahead on and play. That is the routine, and perhaps he needs that environment to help him get right. And, of course, you've seen how Teddy Bridgewater really elevated the Saints offense, but the Saints didn't just go and get him from Minnesota after injury. He proved that he was back when he went to the Jets, and ultimately he proved from the Jets locker room, from the Jets performances that he had, that the Saints made a trade to bring him in. Jameis Winston is thinking, well, he could do that for Teddy Bridgewater. He can do that to me, do that for me. So I can see that aspect of it. But I guess if in all retrospect, is that if you look at it, this is the proper environment to have a guy like Jameis Winston who does have the talent, but his mindset is in his thing. He just don't have it. And perhaps working with Drew Brees and Sean Payton can get him under control to a degree where he could be able to utilize his resources mentally and put together a routine that'll be positive for not only himself, but the team as well. So I could see that and go into it and break it down in my head and see why this would be a good decision. As I just showed you, the article showed that he passed on significant other offers to become a backup for the Saints. To sit behind Drew Brees for a year would be an excellent move for Jameis Winston. Really, to learn behind an all-pro, Hall of Fame quarterback like Drew Brees. Would be a big thing. He's never had to do that. Never had to ride the pine and sit behind a credible quarterback Hall of Famer. This is a major thing for Jameis Winston. If he could put it together, this could be big. This could really be big, and we'll see how it plans because he's a tremendous talent. I just don't like the off-field nonsense, the off-field nonsense and the mindset that Jameis Winston bring. And this locker room gonna whip that to shape or ship his ass out ASAP. So big ups to the family members joining in, Big Sam and the rest of the fam. JT say, hey Q, what did Carolina give Teddy? Because I do my homework and I think the Saints should have signed Teddy. What did Carolina give Teddy? You mean in terms of contract? I don't remember the contract. I covered it before. Give me a second, and I'll give you the answer for that. On Teddy Bridgewater, I think it was like $60 million or something like that. Let me pull up his contract here. I want to say it's $60 million. I'd be having so much going on up here. I want to say it's $60 million at the game. $63 million. It was a 3-year deal, $63 million. That's according to Sports Illustrated. That said that he would. So it's 3 years, $63 million for Teddy Bridgewater. Now the Saints had made him a really good offer, but obviously the way he loved the city and the team, he would have bucked that coming back. It was been the smartest thing to do. But as I told you, like when I told you then, this is a people business first, and this business is built on information and more importantly, trust. Can you trust the information that you're given? It's still a people-based business, a face-to-face interaction business. That's what it is. And whether or not if you're credible, that's what it's based upon. If you're credible, and you're credible based upon your information. And if you look at what happened with Teddy Bridgewater, when Sean Payton showed his cards too soon and labeled Taysom Hill as the franchise while alienating Teddy Bridgewater, did not approach him, and then ultimately decided to go back and try to reach at him before he got with Carolina. And then, of course, he just said, no, I'm going to go with Carolina. Why would he do that when he loved the city of New Orleans? He knew that. You know why he did that? Because of Sean Payton. The trust was broken because Sean Payton turned out to be a liar. And that's what I've been saying that to people for years. I've been covering it. But Bahia, thank you, Bahia. I hope I not pronounced that right. It's very, very nice name. Bahia, most thank you. Thank you for joining the Great Saint Think Tank fam. Appreciate you. Much love to you. And that's a portion of what I'm saying about the trust with what he broke with Teddy Bridgewater. A lot of people don't talk like this about Sean Payton, but it's people. That's people. He's a football coach. He's a quarterback. This guy's a running back. They're still people. And people, just because this guy is a football coach and this other guy over here, a wide receiver, don't mean that they don't have character flaws. Perhaps this is something that Sean Payton been getting away for a long time because people haven't been calling them out on it. I have not heard too many people outside of myself in the Great Saints Think Tank say that this guy be lying his ass off. I called it out, then played it for you, then showed you numerous times when he was doing it. And told you that he had to take it with a grain of salt. That's still my coach, but that's no reason for you to practice the deception. Who the hell you think you is, some type of spy? You know, I mean, it's just keep it real with people, man. When you start practicing deception, you start creating fractures in relationships and the team cracks in the armor. And that's how cracks happen. They little chips at a time, over time. The next thing you know, you got big cracks in the armor. You don't want to practice deception or be involved in that at any cost. That is the wrong energy that you want to bring into a trusting locker room. The next thing you know, people will start labeling you as a favoritist. And then once you be labeled as a favoritist, you start losing your team, period. That's why Bill Parcells tell him that you shouldn't be as a coach for more than 5 years. Why? Not that you can't do it, but Bill Parcells has a lot of major character flaws. He practiced a lot of bullshit and deception too. Where you think Sean Payton got it from? And 5 years is just about enough before the flow fall out on him. That's why he said, "There's no way I can be a coach after more than 5 years at one organization." Why? Because your ass is practicing deception. You're doing stuff you're not supposed to do, and that's just about enough time for the cracks to start appearing before the flow fall up under your heavy ass. But that's the bottom line. Is what I'm saying is that we don't need that type of energy. Stop it. Stop doing that and tell people the truth. If you want Taysom as a quarterback, tell him I want him quarterback. I know you don't want him as a quarterback. If you did, you'd be using him as a quarterback. You'd be focused on using him as quarterback. You're paying him for his abilities as a gimmick player, which is a shame because I don't want a gimmick player on the team like that. I want the offense to operate the way it's supposed to. That means throwing the ball, having a solid wide receiver room, having an excellent running back room, having good tight ends and depth there, and so on and so forth. That's how we won the Super Bowl. Gimmick stuff ain't gonna get that for you, man. Because them people by the time you get to the playoffs, they're gonna know everything you do. And remember that Taysom Hill package wasn't as impactful as it was later on in the year. In the playoff game against the Vikings, that's pretty much all he was using. He wasn't using nothing else. He was just using Taysom Hill. He should have started using him as a quarterback. Maybe would have had to avoid. Maybe he could have ran away from them guys when they was doing that, when they inverted the defensive line, because Drew Brees ran, he was like his feet was stuck in the mud or something. He couldn't get away. Red Hood says, how did he lie? How did Sean Payton lie? Really, fam? Okay, maybe the man don't know. Let me explain to you how Sean Payton lied. Okay, remember, let's start with the Teddy Bridgewater situation. Let's just use Teddy Bridgewater. Remember when the Saints acquired Teddy Bridgewater from the Jets? They gave up, what was it, fam? Wasn't it a third-round draft pick to land Teddy Bridgewater, okay? They give up a third to land Teddy Bridgewater from the Jets. He came here, and he had 1 year left on his contract. Sean Payton said, and I played it on this show, I'm pretty sure you can Google it and find it for yourself, that Sean Payton told Teddy Bridgewater when that year was over with, and his contract was due, is that, listen, we want you to sign back. It was in the papers, it was online, it was everywhere, that he was going to be the heir apparent to Drew Brees. So Teddy Bridgewater signed back for an additional year at a cheaper rate, because he was also being courted by the Miami Dolphins, who was giving him twice the money that the Saints wanted. The Saints wanted him to take that, $9 million or so. And he took that deal, that cheap deal, with the understanding, overstanding, or understanding, however you want to look at it, that he was going to be the apparent to Drew Brees. Okay, fast forward to what happened this year. What happens after the season with Sean Payton then says that he begged Drew Brees to come back, because by all accounts, Drew Brees had to take a time to decide on whether or not he was going to do it. Sean Payton begged him back to give Taysom Hill, who he then called the transition and the franchise quarterback. He told him that he was going to be the franchise quarterback, and totally did not talk to Teddy Bridgewater, just totally alienated him. This happened in front of everybody, and I was covering it. And I said, do you see this Sean Payton alienate all this? Go look at the former shows that I did. My point is that example right there, that he told him coming back for the next year that Teddy Bridgewater, you're going to take over the helm from Brees. But then Brees, he begs Brees back to have a transition year for Taysom Hill, who he then says is the franchise quarterback, after telling Teddy Bridgewater that one last year. Is that not deception? Then after telling Taysom Hill that he was the franchise quarterback, he then goes back to Teddy Bridgewater before he was negotiating, or during he was negotiating with Carolina, to tell them, hey, try to negotiate Teddy to come back to the Saints, while telling Taysom Hill he was the franchise. Is that not deception? Is that not deception? Is that not lying? I mean, come on, man. Come on. That is lying and outright deception in my book. That's why Teddy Bridgewater said, I'm not going to sign with you. You are nothing but a liar. And he went to Carolina. He gave him $63 million. And my thing is, he said, well, Q, he wanted the money. No. If he wanted the money, he could have went to Miami last year and got broke off for more money the Saints was giving him, and a multiple year deal, 2 or 3 year deal Miami was offering him. And Miami is his hometown. He chose to go over to Carolina over the Saints because of the relationship with the Saints. I told you then when that happened, that there was a fracture. He had never believed what he had to say. I told you that. And how many people talk like that? A lot of the people, they're not going to talk like that. They're not going to say, hey, that guy lying his ass off. And people like the man just said, how did he lie? Man wasn't aware, because they don't pay attention. Most people don't pay attention. But I look at that stuff and just how I labeled it, just like he said, yeah, that's true. That is deception. That is lying. Deception is a nice word of saying, this man, you lying your ass off. That's what he was doing, lying his stinking ass off. All right, family, please, over 180 plus people in the chat, please hit the like button, man. It helps out the algorithm and the streams big time. And I posed this question in the chat: do Sean Payton lie? And then the second question is, do he lie a lot? just hit that. Who that to you? I see you pay attention. 26. What up, baby? Man, been a long time since I seen you in the chat. Much love to you. Hope you're well, fam. Metalhead, what up, fam? Red Hood says, I think he was using smoke and mirrors to build worth for Taysom. I think it was smoke and mirrors, fam. Smoke and mirrors, outright lying about something. It's smoke and mirrors. See, we got to call it what it is. And it's like this old cloak and dagger type stuff. You know, It's not smoke and mirrors. It's outright deception. They call it in intelligence circles misdirection or giving misinformation, which is straight up lying to people. See, they try to dress it up to make it cute and beautiful for you to do it and make it seem like it's something that is worth doing. It's never a good thing to misinform or miseducate somebody. Never. And the only way people misinform and miseducate somebody or misdirect them is so that they can have an advantage over them in some form of capacity, whether it's power or money or what have you. But it's never beneficial to the party that you are misdirecting. Anybody in the chat knows that they would never say, and I can ask them right now, fam. I'll pose another question to the Great Saints Think Tank. Do you like being lied to? Would you like somebody feeding you misinformation? Yes or no? Hit the chat up and tell me what you say. See, when we practice stuff and pull all this bull crap down and understand what's misdirection, it's smoke and mirrors and it's cloak and dagger nonsense so that they can make it cutesy so they can use it and say, well, that's a smart dude using misdirection. No, that's not. It's never a good thing to misdirect because some bitches using it will never like it to be done to them. That's how you know something wrong. Nobody likes to be misdirected or lied to or led astray. Nobody wants that. So the people are practicing in it. Answer the fast. This goes out to every Saint member in the Great Saint Think Tank that's hearing my voice right now. Do you want to be misdirected or lied to? Look at the people in there. Look at the responses from the people in the chat. Who that to you? Sports Talk 365. He said they all lying, bro. Thank you, man. Big ups to you, fam. Much love to my dog at Sport Talk 365. Doing great work over there, fam. Annie, what up, Annie? Annie Clark, good to see you, baby. Who that to you in the fam? Hope you well, fam. Brian Vicknell, what up? He said that's damn right. Vic boy, Payne, what up, Payne? Music, what's good, fam? Man, hope you're doing well, fam. Roscoe, what up, Roscoe? My dog, Roscoe. Big ups to you. Much love to you, Roscoe. Good to see you, fam. Look at all of the beautiful black and gold family members, bro. It's just what, look, hell no. Kyle Walter, who that to you? Kyle, he says, hell no, hell nah. Brian says, hell no, who does? Tyra says, Q spitting them facts. 985 say, you're right, Q. I like somebody to be honest with me. Come on. Look, Dominique, who that to you? Dominique says, hell no. Jerome said he can't be lying, Q. He said he afford him a contract. No, but it's the way you do it. You ain't have to do all that to get to that point. You see what I'm saying? And I'll break it down later. Trevance says, who that, baby? Who that to you, that fam? Good to see you. Scoop says, you got one tied figure. Kelvin says, hell no. True Louisiana says, keep it real with me. Don't lie to me. Chef the Flavor, who that to you, Chef? I see your family. Much love to you. JT says F no. The Right says no. What's up, The Right? Who that, family? Steve Owen says, hell no, don't lie to me ever. Come on now. Look at the strong context of the words the family members are using. Because people in this, everybody been lied to or misdirected. It is not a good feeling for somebody to lie to you, or even stronger word is to manipulate you. Who wants to be manipulated? Who wants to be manipulated? And you manipulate and lie to people because you don't think they're capable of dealing with the truth. Who are you to decide that? Who is you to decide that people can't deal? And I'm not talking about you, fam. I'm just saying who to those that participate in the deception. Who the hell are they to say to people that you're not capable of knowing what the truth is? Who are you? Who are they? You see? Steve says, give me the truth. I don't care what it looked like. See? Scoop says, who that? Hennessy says, why didn't they use that money to sign 41? He's the priority. It might be a franchise tag that come out to get a hold to him. We'll see. They're not going to break up the money. Mickey Luma says he's not even concerned about Kamara's contract. He's still under contract as far as they're concerned, right? He's got his money. If you want a new contract, we'll address it then. That's the mentality of the team. It's a stupid backwards ass philosophy because you say he already got paid, so he good. Never mind the fact that because of him, you making more money off the jerseys and more people are coming because of Alvin Kamara. So the team is doing this and you have an elevated income base because of some players who are now considered stars. You don't think for a second the player realized that? If he doesn't realize it, it's his agent job to recommend to let him know that. Look, man, your jersey, the top is number 10 in all the jerseys in the entire NFL. So they making bank off of you. It's the same thing they do in college. But instead of paying the players, they say, no, we're going to give you a free education. But their play on the field, they made 3 to 5 times more money for the university than where they can have a free room or books or whatever this degree they're going for that they can have to go and practice. And most of the time, the degree it's not going, I just don't know. I ain't going to get all into it, man. Because our create is more and more of the same. It spills out into everything. But the point of the matter is, Roscoe says he lied when he tried to drive him through the good areas since day one. Carmara got him lost in the hoods. Leave it to Roscoe to bring a joke edge to it. Devin says Sean gonna end up with no QBs. Rogue Dog is me says LOL. Jermaine said, what up, Q? What up, Jermaine? Good to see your family. 985 said, truth shall make you free. Herwin Marcia, what up, family? Says, hey, Carolina lied. Name an organization who doesn't, and how many championships did they win? Not the point, family. Not about championships. Even if you lied and won championship, you still deceived to get it. That's all I'm saying. It's not the point. Did you have success in the misdirection? It's just the reality to understand that misdirection is being used on people. Manipulation is being used on people every day. And you have to understand what the method of manipulation and misdirection is. And I'm saying that Sean Payton used that on Taysom Hill. And Taysom Hill ultimately got a pay increase. But do you really believe that he still sees him like he says that he's a quarterback? Despite all the stuff I told you about what Sean Payton said he was going to do. He was going to sign him at start of free agency. He didn't. He put a first round tender on him, knowing that high chances nobody was going to pick him, just so he can bring him back so that he can use him as a wide receiver and running back. He's thrown 13 passes for 3 years. Do anybody actually believe that's worthy of a franchise quarterback? He's thrown 13 passes over 3 years. I'm going to just leave it at that, man. Debo says Kamara is box office. They're making bank. See, people don't want to talk about football without adding the veneer of business. How could you talk about football or Saints football in particular without adding the veneer of the business around it? Without the business, you don't have football. They're not going to play for free. They're not. It's too much on the line, and they understand that principle. These guys, all of them make several millionaires, multimillionaires. Those guys are making multiple billions and trillions of dollars. They don't pay taxes on the arenas that are paid for by the public. They don't pay their utilities. You do. I've covered that in the last show and several other million shows that I've done and talked about this issue. Of course, they're going to be the richest in the states that they come from. When you're not being taxed and you operate with the business, and then you open up and you get all these little breaks, and then they have all these little, but you think every other thing that they got their hands into, everything is created in the tax breaks. Then your next thing you start seeing, you got a beer brewery over here. You got the Benson Tower over here that you pay pennies on the dollar to acquire from the state. Then the state turn around with state money and rent out the offices in the building in which they gave to them at pennies of dollars. That's profit on top of profit. That's profit on top of profit. That building, the Superdome, is not owned by the New Orleans Saints. They simply use it, but they don't pay no rent on it. You do. And the thing is, I enjoy football like the rest. But if we were really as in critical thinking and intelligent public, we would then be getting checks from them for that. Because you're using it to make money, and I'm not getting nothing but some spooky stuff about it's my team. Thank you, bro. Lau, who that to you? And that's the vehicle, that's the veneer that makes this show have punch to it. Because I could talk to you. You can go anywhere and listen to somebody talk to you about the Saints. You can turn on ESPN or somebody to talk about the Saints and sit up there and watch them dry bastards talk about sports all day long, reading off a teleprompter. Dead as hell. Dead as hell on that. No life to them. I don't read off no stinking teleprompter. I don't believe it. I believe that people are alive and electric, and that the conversation should be such as well. And I sit up here on this mic in front of the Great Saints Think Tank and talk about the Saints for hours on end, and people stay engaged because of the content, because it is empowering. Just talking about football and life and everything around it is empowering. It really is. And I enjoy talking and connecting with the family. Big ups to you. Clint F., I see your family in the building as well. Donovan says they just signed undrafted free agent Adrian McGee from LSU, 6'4", 343. He's huge at big offensive line. McGee, I'm going to show that in a second an updated list of some of the players, the latest undrafted free agent signings that the Saints have. Give me just a second. I'm gonna pull up. Let's see. The Saints tracker I had. I don't know why I clicked it off. Let me see if I can pull one up here. All right. Give me just a second, fam. All right, I see that they have the same list that Adrian McGee hadn't been added yet. So, hold on. Let me see if I can get a more updated one. But truth be told, family, that's what it all comes down to, man. We got to understand that, man. Let me see here. All right. All right, now, the one that we were showing yesterday toward the end of the broadcast, and this one I'm going to show right now, is from the good folks at Canal Street Chronicles. Much love to them and all the great work that they do there. This is an updated list here of the Saints reported undrafted free agent list. We got Marquez Callaway from the University of Tennessee. Kelvin Throckmorton, the offensive lineman from Oregon. We covered this. Darian Paulo, another offensive lineman from Utah. Jordan Steckler, another offensive lineman, is from North Illinois. Big Roach, Malcolm Roach, the defensive tackle from Texas. Tony Jones Jr., who's a battering ram type running back. Wonder why Sean Payton getting him. He got two battering ram running backs named Latavius Murray and Dwayne Washington, and refused to use them. He refused to use a heavy 1-2 combination punch like Murray and Washington. But you're going to get Tony Jones, who's another heavy battle ram type running back. Joey Bashie, inside linebacker from Michigan State. Keith Washington, a defensive back from West Virginia. Keith Washington, about 6'1". I went and looked these guys up, and there'll be a show next week covering these guys with pictures and everything. And I'll give you some information about each one of them. That'll be coming out next week. Tino Ellis is another guy. He's about 6 feet tall as well, from Maryland. Hold on, I skipped over him. Keith Washington, the defensive back from West Virginia. Gus Cumberlander, defensive end, big defensive end, about 6'5" or so, from Oregon. Jawan Johnson, 6'4", 230, wide receiver from Oregon. Really interesting prospect. I was watching stuff on him, footage on him that was really intriguing, man. We might have something with Jawan Johnson. Well, it's going to be interesting. Of course, Tino Ellis, we talked about him, from Maryland. Blake Gillikin, Penn State punter, who will come here and compete, and maybe he'll be a practice squad punter. Thomas Morstead getting long in the tooth. I don't know if they're trying to replace him. I don't think this year, no doubt about it. But Blake Billiken, the reason why they bring, I don't know why the logic to bring a kicker in here, but we'll see. And then, of course, as you can see right there, Adrian McGee, offensive lineman from LSU. So the Saints are showing you that they're really serious about one thing, offensive linemen. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them now? Throckmorton, Paulo, Steckler, and then you throw Adrian McGee in there. That's big. And, of course, the Saints, at least they got LSU guys this year. At least they got an LSU guy. It took them getting undrafted with them, but at least they finally did get an LSU guy there. So that's some of the free agent trackers, and we'll keep an eye on it as well and chime in as the Saints keep going. So a lot of stuff going on so far in the Saints world, man. The last 3 days or 4 days, whatever it's been, since Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday today, been 4 straight days of the Sports Coma dropping the knowledge on you about the Saints stuff. And it's been fun as hell. I ain't gonna tell you no different, family. It's been real fun covering it to finally see what happened. Now, we're gonna be monitoring it as well moving forward to see how then things would change in terms of the Saints adding free agents, not just undrafted guys, perhaps veteran free agents in the mix as well as they get prepared to head into camp. It's going to be quite the lull now after the draft is over with. We're going to get a little quiet here going into the summer before things happen. But, you know, we're going to keep our conversation up, break down and look at tape on some of these other people and talk about it as well. Big ups to the rest of the family members in the live stream chiming in as well. Good to see Inevitable Expertise in the building. Richie Rich, who that to you? Jess Leo 12, good to see your family as well. Who that nation, who that to you as well, my friend. Appreciate you. Good to see you in a live stream. Darrelly Snurley, what up, Darrelly? Good to see your family. Much love to you. Big ups to you. Who that to you? And the rest of the family members chiming in. Let's see. Let me see if we can get some questions from the family members. A lot of people chiming in here. Debo says we need more defensive end linebackers and wide receivers. Tyra says CSCs are so good. Shout out to Reverend and Eli. Okay. Donovan Grayson says Kelvin Throckmorton and Roach will definitely make the practice squad. Debo says we got all these goddamn old linemen and drafted Ruiz and Pete is our worst offensive lineman. Let's see. Roscoe says Payton did say for the past months it's been all about Saints interior, so I stuck with it. Pete is our worst lineman, best paid one, says Debo. Richard Rich, yeah, they low key won't make the roster but make the practice squad. A lot of these guys, Carlito, what up, Carlito? Who that to you, fam? A lot of these guys are definitely gonna be practice squad players, and we're gonna see what guy could take benefit. Remember, but there's always at least one or two guys that you see that come along that jump right into it and make an impact to the team. So we'll see just how it shake up in the end, man. But man, it's been fantastic. So the reality is Taysom Hill is a quarterback, running back, wide receiver guy now for the Saints. And people asking, we need more wide receivers. The reason why you're not going to get any more wide receivers is because Taysom Hill is your wide receiver. Being that you got this rookie tight end, that's one position you don't have to worry about him playing anymore. So you're not going to see him that much anymore at tight end. You're not going to see him there at tight end no more. Where you will see him at now will be more at running back, wide receiver, and at the quarterback position. And usually when he's at the quarterback position, he's a running back. So you won't see him too much doing the tight end stuff anymore. I think they'll kind of narrow it down to wide receiver and running back with the potential to be a quarterback and throw the ball. So, I mean, it's just what it is. I don't know if that other Taysom Hill guy would actually make the team. Maybe we'll see what his skill set will be on the team, because if they see him as a Taysom Hill, they might save a spot for him to play. He's a big target, and maybe, I don't know, I've seen him catch. I don't know if he's great. He's a consistently really good catcher of the ball. We'll see how that plays as well. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of getting players that look like players when you should just do it the right way. Why are you trying to do all this old gimmick nonsense? Just build the offense like you're supposed to. Get good, fast wide receivers and go from there. A Red Hood Saints, thank you, family. Say enjoying the show. Who that? Thank you, family, for your donation. Much love to you. Thank you, family, for that. And I appreciate the love, family. Much love to you. Who that to you? Who that nation says Taysom was practically the fastest player we have. I don't know who that nation. I won't know if he to say he is the fastest player. Remember, you still got Harris. You still got Harris there. Deontay Harris, who's pretty quick in his own right. You still got Elvin Kamara, who's pretty fast in his own right. So Taysom Hill is definitely up there. I wouldn't say he's faster than Deontay Harris. I don't think he's faster than Deontay Harris. I'm going to keep it real with you. But he is terrific, though. I absolutely love Taysom Hill. I just don't want him to be lied to. I don't like anybody to be lied to. Tell the man the truth and let them make a decision. Because ultimately, when you practice and you lying to people, then you're going to be lied to yourself. And most of the people that's dirty in the world that like doing lies don't like to lie to nobody. But you are a hypocrite bastard if you lying to somebody else and you don't want to lie to you. You get what you give. That's what the universe is. Whatever you put into the universe is what you get out of it. Don't expect for you to put bad into the universe and then to come back good. No, it won't happen like that. You tripping your own self out and then thinking there's some type of invisible apparitions running around messing up your stuff. It's you doing it. Stop practicing disagreeable shit and do the right stuff you know you're supposed to do. Be about the business of building yourself and doing the right stuff and watch how your life change. Serious stuff. Very simple. Big ups to the family members chiming in as well. Let's see. Derek says Taysom is just fast for his size and strength. Bro Lyle, what up, Bro Lyle? Who that to you? Says Winston has a better deep ball than Breeze and Taysom. Just needs some tutoring. That is true. He can throw the deep ball. If you look overall at all of his attributes, he's talented. I'm not saying that he can't be an asset to the team, but this is more a really good move for him as opposed to the Saints. Because to keep it real with you, if he gets himself discipline-wise under control, and I'm saying he might not know how to do that, you know what I mean? Like, he'll have all the time in the world, but he's never been in a scenario where he had to sit behind a Hall of Famer in a system like the Saints, where he had to humble himself. Like, when he was in Tampa Bay, he was the man from day one. So it was hard for somebody to come in there and tell him something because he was there before a lot of those coaches were as well. And the threat of losing your job, and at the stage of this career where he knows that if he don't change the way of his steady doing business, that he won't ever be a starting quarterback again. So he wants to have like a Teddy Bridgewater type renaissance, where Teddy Bridgewater prove that he could be a quarterback and come back and get a $60+ million deal with a team and get a deal over Cam Newton, who the team have, who's more talented. But that goes to show you that if you can get it together and play under control and have the right routine, good things can happen. And Winston is not immune from that. He's not disconnected from that. He just needs to humble himself, which I think he probably will, and learn from a legend. He's going to learn from Drew Brees. Trust me on that. He's going to learn from him. Who That Nation says Harris ran 4.35. Hill ran 3.44. Kamara ran 3.56. Thank you very much for that, Who That Nation. Thank you, family. Who that for life? Chris Fields. What up, Chris? He says, not going. I wanted to draft Jalen Hurts for the QB pick, but what can you do? I agree with your family. And if you go back and listen to the prior shows, I was on here running through the roof and the family members know that I was talking some major smack for Jalen Hurts. I was the dude saying, man, what this guy is what you want Taysom Hill to be. He is a guy that's at some points the fastest guy on the field. He can throw the ball downfield. He's intelligent. He's a winner. The man won 38 games in his 4-year college career. Never mind the fact that he went through all 4 of those years. You don't hear none of them say that. That's supposed to be an asset when you play all 4 years of your college career. You heard none of those people from the Mel Kipers or the McShays of the world even mention that, or even said that, yeah, he had all the instruction from some really good coaches. This guy could be something. Only thing you hear these dogs talk about, like the guy from CBS talk about, oh, I just hated the pick from Philadelphia. But some bitch won't hate the pick when Wentz go down again, because Wentz have major back issues. Them people drafting have the medicals on these players. I keep telling them to them that they got the medicals on this guy. And they're not factoring that in, is that guy is repetitively hurt. They have the medicals. They need somebody to come in there just in case he goes down. And they have a guy with a potential who has the speed and can throw the ball, intelligent. I'm telling you, they'll hate it until Wentz goes down. He steps in, takes over, and runs the goddamn thing. Hurts will be an asset to the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, they're just too stupid to realize it, because them Philadelphia fans, boy, you talking about a bunch of hard people with bricks for brains. I mean, good grief, man. They lambasting the man, talking about the man drafted the wide receiver, and Rieger is a good wide receiver out of TCU. I wouldn't have took him there because Justin Jefferson was thick in there. I would have took Jefferson. But they like their picks and chooses. They wanted some speed, and they picked this guy up. It wasn't a bad pick. It's just not who you wanted. Then Jalen Hurts is an insurance policy for Carson Wentz. They can't get that. I just don't understand it. And that ain't even my damn team, and I get it. But anyway, let's keep it rolling here. Let's see who else. Travis Jones, Who That T, says Winston is a great pickup. Our Saints, by our Saints. Thank you there, fam. Good to see you. 985 Richard says when they threw the ball deep, gets intercepted. It's going to change it. Mad Dog Doc. What up, fam? What's going on? Pops. You're definitely on point, Neff. Thank you. Mad Dog Doc. Thank you. That's Mr. Mel. Good to see you, Mr. Mel, in the building. Much love to you. Jaslio12 says Teddy is a game manager. Winston will not because his nature too obnoxious to throw. Thank you, family. Donovan, much love to your family. He says character. Thank you for that, Donovan. Character is most important to me, but I hope this young man can get it together and turn things around. He's extremely talented, but lack the mental parts needed for success. Boy, I keep bet Donovan. That's well said. You could take that and put that on the back of a book and just and that's the 100% accurate point. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have it right up here and organized up here, it is all for naught. It's like having all the information in the world to help people, but you don't write no book, you don't do no show, you don't do nothing. You just sit on that until you die. What good is that? And people tell you, oh, Q, knowledge is power. And I told him, an old man told me, he said, listen, he corrected me long time ago. He said, listen, son, that's not true. People been saying that wrong. And he told me, says, knowledge is, and I'll pass this on to the family, and you can put it in your speech when you talk to people, in your vocabulary. When somebody tells you that knowledge is power, you tell them, no, knowledge is not power. It's potential power. That's the accurate definition, or not definition, but the accurate statement is knowledge is potential power. The application of knowledge is power, because what good is learning all of the stuff, even skills that can make you rich, but not apply it to make yourself any better? The application process is the final component to the education process. And once you obtain the information, what then do you do with it? You have to apply it accurately to your life for it to have an impact. So the application of knowledge is power. And then the other way around is merely knowledge not applied. Knowledge applied is power. Let's just put it like that. That should be a good t-shirt too. Knowledge. I'm gonna tell the people, I'm gonna tell the family members about it and said the application of knowledge is power. You're gonna shorten it up some kind of way. But I love that. I like that, man. Anyway, let's keep it going here. Big ups to you. Marty Frost, what up, fam? He says, did Everson Griffin get signed? Not to my knowledge. I did a check on Everson a couple of days ago. Didn't see a damn thing about it. I think he's still out there. Jadeveon Clowney is still out there. Marcus Golden is still out there. And Clay Matthews is still out there. I don't know if the Saints will do it. I'll really be happy. I think that'll put the cherry on top. If the Saints did get a guy like Golden or Everson Griffin, I would love to have that here because that will tell me that they're really serious about winning. Now, I know they got Bourne, and I love Bourne. I think Bourne is terrific. He's the right type of player to have down here, and then he solves that situational pass rusher. His high motor, his infectious nature, this dude is a perfect Saint. People will love this guy. Zach Bourne will be terrific for the Saints. And he answers that situational pass rusher position to an absolute T. Absolutely. Who That Nation agrees with me. He says Zach Bourne and Joe Bashie's. Why is Who That Nation still complaining about Patrick Queen? Pat Queen gone, family. Might as well get over it. Getting Zach Bourne is a major plus. And I was watching highlights on Joe Bashie as well. He is a dude. He ain't incredibly athletic, but he has a nose for the ball and a huge heart. He has heart. He led his team in tackles and all that, despite the fact of his physical limitations. See, but you can will. That's why I'm saying when I talk about mind stuff, you can will yourself beyond what your body's capable of doing. We see it all the time with people who are not faster than other guys, that are not more talented than other guys, but they're more productive than other guys. Why? Not because of athletics. It's not the summation of everything. It's not the totality of everything. The mind is everything. If you can surpass your physical limitations and everywhere else when your mind is focused and determined and everything like that. I'm just keeping it real with you. That's why you can see people who are like far less gifted in terms of athletics, but they use everything they can to compete on that field and have success. Not everybody out there in the NFL runs a 4.44, but most of those guys out there, the slower guys, still have an ability to make an impact on the field. Heart, determination, and having that mind to understand that I can surpass my limitations because they are self-imposed. Nobody put limitations on me. I do it to myself. Whether you accept it from parental teaching, from parents that might have put it in your head because they didn't know no better, that they were passing dysfunctional ideologies on to you, it happens to us all. But the reality is, what do you then do with that once you have it? Do you then not break through your mental limitations to achieve your more perfected form? Do you do that then? Because that's what this great thing is about. Even if we use the example of football, we then say that we break through our limitations, both physically and mentally and spiritually, to assume our role as the most perfect beings that we could possibly be. That is what we're supposed to do. That is what we're supposed to do. And then and only then we'll realize that level of what I don't know if you ever reach perfection, but you're not supposed to. The truth is you're always supposed to be progressing in that direction. You probably won't ever reach it, but the mere fact that you are on that direction and headed down that road means that you going on in the right direction, which you're supposed to go. And down there, there's empowerment, enlightenment, and everything. I won't get into a spiel about it, but this is why a lot of the professional athletes fail, because they have the athletic ability, they have everything, but the mind is all messed up. It's all discombobulated, and you can't put it together because you're threefold. You're threefold, and you need all three folds of you to operate in the same direction or be information. We talked about misdirection and misinformation. Misinformation is caused to misalign you, to throw you every which way, so you won't be impactful. But when all three of your cells are lined up and focused, laser beam precise, directed toward the end result, then you achieve greatness. because all three of you are going in a direction which you're supposed to be. And that's why you see so much success. You think I'm full of shit? Look at Drew Brees and read Drew Brees' interviews. I played them countless times on the show. I talked about his mentality of preparation and what makes him great. He goes through visualization practices. He quiets his mind and meditate. Why would Drew Brees, the guy is less than 6 feet tall without shoes, but dominating in the league of giants, 6'4", 6'5" guys. He leads the NFL record books in touchdowns and passes. This coming from a quarterback barely 6 feet tall. And you don't think I'm telling you telling you something that's not truthful? If Drew Brees can do that to make himself a Hall of Fame quarterback and get all these passing records and then apply it to his business life where he have businesses all over the place, you don't think you can do that? Come on. He got everything you got and we got. You just got to understand that. I'm telling you, it's more than just the game of football. It's up here. What is your process of going through it? Think about what I'm saying. Even research Tom Brady. He has a process too that he goes to. It's a reason why they're great. It's a reason. They wasn't born and just all of a sudden, no, it don't work like that. It's a reason why they're great. They're practicing and using things that are making them that a practice or a routine that is an empowering routine. And anybody that gets a part of it, whether it's Taysom Hill, who just kept getting hurt, he got with Drew Brees people, and all of a sudden he's stronger and faster than ever. How does that work? Why when you touch Drew Brees, you turn to gold like King Midas or some stuff? He seems to have the golden touch. Drew excels here, he excels there. Man, listen. I'm telling you, it's a process to this and the thought process of this. And once you get into that realm and on that highway, just hit that cruise control and just cruise on, fam. Bottom line. Anyway, let's keep it going. Who that says success is the progressive realization of a worthy deal. Thank you for that. That is well said. Debo says Deion Sanders is hyped about Winston going to the Saints. Larry F. Dickerson says keep Winston out of Cajun seafood. Jason King, you said you're welcome. Metalhead says it's going to be hard to stop Thomas Sanders, Kamara, Cook, and a new tight end with Drew getting time. Jess Leo says 12 says I feel Saints secondary is stronger, but linebacker are still weak. You got to account for the fact that the Saints still going to add veteran free agents as the season goes into it. You're going to see them add more people to that 90-man roster. You're going to see veterans added to that roster. And there are one or two guys that I'm keeping my eye on that's in that linebacker pool that's going to really step up. If you think about the health of guys like Alex Anzalone and everybody else they're young guys that's poised to make a jump in a linebacker room. They are young. Same with the wide receivers. Maurice Harris is a guy that I'm keeping my eyes on. He has speed. He has a lot of speed there. He was productive everywhere he goes. And I think that he can make something happen if the Saints are serious about putting these guys on the roster. Because last year, Sean Payton had fantastic talent and just turned them all into the street. I didn't understand that. What the purpose? We went through the entire preseason and these guys were excelling. Guys like the guy from the Jacksonville Jaguars, the running back. You know, they were all excelling. And next thing you know, he turned them all in the street. I just didn't understand that. What's the purpose of having these young guys and you just turn them into the street like that? And they did everything they were supposed to do to make the team. Made no sense to me. And that's why I said sometimes this dude be out thinking himself, thinking and believing his own hype. You got to keep yourself balanced and focused. And we have problems with this dude doing this from time to time. We talking about this dude. We talking about Payton. You got to stay balanced. You got to stay grounded. Travis Jones, who that to you, says, I hope we pick up some cornerbacks in the supplemental draft. Debo says Drew needs to dream about not fumbling in the playoffs. And yeah, it was a terrible performance. They need to focus on, he needed to have some extra visualization in the playoffs because he wasn't prepared for that game at all. I don't know what he was doing or what he was drinking or whatever he was doing, but whatever he was doing, he better stop it because that was totally ridiculous. And it often, baby, you got to have a nerve for the playoffs and be able to calm yourself down and act like you were and just not make the mistakes. It's simple. Catch the ball, make the block, make the tackle. Don't turn the ball over. Don't fumble the ball. And then a lot of things is building a rhythm, having a running game, having a team focused to understand that this is the finality of it and we have to play with a certain edge of desperation, but yet still play under control and use the fear or anxiety or whatever we're going through as a weapon to be able to centralize it, focus, and we play together and we whip this team together. We stay under control and we don't beat ourselves with dumbass penalties and stupid play calling. that we need to draw all that out and work behind the running game and defense to be able to keep going in the playoffs. The Tennessee Titans did it. They did it to a great length. They were able to get there. And then when you need to turn that offense on, it's a time when you turn that offense on and throw for 40 points or whatever you need to do to beat a team like the Chiefs. Whatever you feel you got to do, but the defense has to be able to get to the quarterback. They must have they have to cause turnovers, and more, above all, we must play without making so many mistakes. If you look at the Chiefs and some of the teams that have been going to the Super Bowl, the most disciplined teams make it to the Super Bowl. The teams that don't turn the ball over and don't beat themselves always have an opportunity to get to the playoffs. And I question the Saints' not talent level. Not the linebacker room or the wide receiver room or the talent level. They had the talent level over the last 2 years to get to the Super Bowl. That's the thing. They've had the opportunity to get to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. The problem is when you get to the playoffs, you're beating yourself constantly with these penalties, these false starts, the turnovers and all this. Where is your mind in the playoffs? That's what it comes down to. Where is the discipline and the mindset in the playoffs? You know, that's what it comes down to. And I question that because we've been falling through the flow the last 3 years in the playoffs with these uncharacteristic like turnovers and all of this beating. I know we can beat the regular season. I know we can whip in the regular season. The issue is the playoffs. We have a playoff monkey on our back that we need to get over. Who that for life Phil says, baby, I'll be fine if Lattimore run him a fade. Jazz Leo 12 says Drew Brees is good, but I believe midseason he should sit. I don't know if he'll sit. This is his last year, so they're going to exhaust him. But Sean Payton, if he was smart, he needs to implement his running game. He brings this. He has Latavius Murray, who averages 5 yards a carry. You have Dwayne Washington, who average almost 6 yards a carry in the time that he's been here. You need to use those guys. Anytime if I have a team and I got running backs that average 4 and 5 yards a carry, do you not understand what I will be doing with the ball? That is a weapon. And then you can always open the offense up off the running game. I just don't get that. Maybe Bill Parcells need to talk to him about it because he's feeling himself a little too much. That's why you're not winning in most Super Bowls. And people still, they're dealing with nostalgia and living in the past if you're still worrying about that one Super Bowl. He had plenty of opportunities to win Super Bowl over the last 2 or 3 years. We're going to blame it on everything but him. Oh, it was the referee making the call. So the guy didn't drop a touchdown pass, the tight end? Do we not remember that? If he had caught that touchdown pass, you know you'd have won that game, right? Yeah, I know, but man, the referee, man, stop that, man. Cut that out, man. Even Payton said it was his fault that they did that in the post-game interview because I played it on the show after the post-game. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. You got to understand it. But the finality of not having Drew Brees after this year has to be able to force Sean Payton to come up out of that old dinosaur mentality and be able to at least start running the ball more. Run the ball. If this young offensive lineman that he brought in here will help him run the ball interiorly, then I'm for it every bit of the way. McCoy moves to right guard. He's a good run guard as well. I'm for it every bit of the way because we need to run the ball more. It ain't so much about the protection of the quarterback as so much of it is about running the football because we know we got to protect Drew, but you also have to be able to run the football. It's another way of protecting Drew Brees. It's another way because it forces the defense to have a second thought about what you're doing back there, as opposed to you just sitting back there throwing the ball all the time. They can just pin their ears back and go after you. Leslie Debo says Davenport injuries has put us behind the wheel a lot as far as our pass rush. True Louisiana says Taysom might play at defensive back, corner, or plans 8 this year. Jamal says PJ needs to just play on special teams. Who that for life? Chris Field says, should we re-sign again Justin Hardy? We already re-signed him, bro. Justin Hardy's already re-signed to a 1-year contract. They did that some time ago. So thank you for the question. JT says, hey, family, don't believe Deion Sanders. They want to see the Saints fail. Travis Jones says PJ Williams and Patrick Robinson should be gone. Scoop says, I keep saying 12 personnel, 2 pass catching tight ends is going to be Brees' favorite thing. Let's see. Debo says Hardy is the worst cover corner in Saints history. Flailing around, failing over great special teams though. Yeah, he got toasted by that little wide receiver from the Tennessee Titans. Boy, he spanked him to pieces. And I was like, you know what, Justin Hardy, bro, you were looking good in the preseason, but boy, you couldn't. That little dude tore you up. PJ Juice says, who that to the fam? What up, PJ? Good to see you, fam. Tell me about it. 504 says, got a brown bag. You should be a Brown fans. Get a brown bag. You should be a Browns fan. I don't understand that. Jay Solo 12 says, do you think we should defensive end back up behind Davenport to curse over Rankins? I love him. He's great, but need to trade him. Do you think we should defensive end behind? Yeah, Everson Griffin's been a guy I've been saying, and Clay Matthews, another guy. Marcus Golden. I've been talking about this for some time. But I think when you get to a point that you have to focus on getting the defensive stuff together. So we'll see how it goes, man. But they got Zach Bond. They'll play him at a situational role there. So that might be something we're looking at either. So we'll just have to see. All right, let's keep it going, family. But I'm not opposed to having more defensive ends, no doubt about it. Ones that's impactful. I still say Everson Griffin if you're serious about a Super Bowl, because you can get all these these offensive parts all you want. But if your pass rush still stinks, what good is having these guys? You can't get to the quarterback. That's something that you got to do. You got to get to the quarterback to win in this league. We're not getting to the quarterback enough. And I'm not talking about pressures. I'm talking about sacks. That's the key stat that they should focus on here. Focus on the sacks. We need sacks. The offense is going to be a 5 or a 10 top ranked offense in the league. That's already proven. But the defense is the key. In order to get back to the Super Bowl, the defense needs to turn up the sackage. They need to get up and get not just pressures, but sacks on the quarterback. Bond will help out in that area, but we still need another guy behind that can do the same. You can never have too many pass rushers. I'm not big on Hendrickson. I think he gets hurt too often. Granderson is a potential. I don't know. Noah Spence the same way. These are potential guys. I don't know exactly if these guys can pull off, but I'd rather not play with it. Let's just get somebody that know what they're doing and that has a track record of doing it successfully. Everson Griffin, Marcus Golden, somebody you could just say point at the quarterback and he go get him. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. Debo says Trail had 2-3 worst corners: Fred Thomas, Jason David, Hardy. Trail says David Jason was second. Fred Thomas was definitely the worst. Debo says Big Q, who was the worst? Fred Thomas, Jason David, McKenzie, or Hardy? Well, Hardy's just a backup, bro. The rest of those dudes were starting cornerbacks for the Saints. Fred Thomas started for the Saints. So did Jason David and McKenzie. So to me, that's tough. Jason David did get interceptions. He was incredibly small. He's like 5'7" cornerback, but he got interceptions. He was just what you expect a man to do. He's 5'7". Why would you trade for a 5'7"? Just the insanity of the stupidity of some of those coaches back then, man. Fred Thomas played hard. He just didn't have it. He just didn't have that gift, man. He was just out there trying to give effort. You know, most of the times he got blocked. He didn't get many interceptions because he wasn't looking to get interceptions. Like Deion Sanders says, two type of cornerbacks. Ones that look to make the play and ones that look to not to get burnt. And Fred Thomas was one that always got burnt. Jason David actually tried to look to make the play, but he was really small. And McKenzie, man, it was just, boy, he was just garbage to me. He had a few interceptions. He had the size, but he was exposed in New Orleans because when he came from Green Bay, we started to realize that Green Bay had solid safety play, which made him look a lot better than what he actually was. So out of that list, out of Thomas, David, and McKenzie, because Hardy is basically a backup, that's all he ever been. I'll probably say the worst one we had was probably Jason David. Even though the dude tried, he just was 5'7". But McKenzie's a close second, though, no doubt about it. Thank you for that, Debo. Jammin', what up, Jammin'? He says, not David. This corner that came from Seattle was the worst. All right. 985 says, run the ball. Sean, run the ball. Thank you. Jason Keek says, Johnny Poe was the worst cornerback the Saints ever had. Let's see. Debo says, Jason David worse than Browner. Browner was just terrible. Browner was being played out of position. Had the Saints converted Brown to a safety, they would have got better value out of him. But that was around the same time that the Saints were doing stupid shit with their players. They had Will Smith playing linebacker. Late in his career, they had Akeem Hicks at the defensive end when he should have been at tackle. They had Haloi Kakaha playing linebacker when he never done that before, ever. So he should have been the pass rush. He's a guy that you put on the line and he just gets to the quarterback. They were insane. They were stupid as hell, is what I'm saying. And they had Brandon Browner playing cornerback when he should have been a safety. So they had a wide range of dumbass things they were doing back then. Absolute stupid ass stuff that was going. I hate to get upset about it, because if I had a show, I would be riding on them right now for that, because they were literally stupid as hell. But I'm gonna leave it alone. Let's see. Jason David way worse than Browner. I don't know. As a Saint, Browner sucked because he was terrible. But he played hurt the entire season, but he shouldn't have been a cornerback out there. Roscoe says Sean need to keep his emotions in check, but in 2018 we got robbed by the refs. I don't agree with that, Roscoe. We don't disagree often, man, but the referees didn't throw the flag. That's true, but you should have won that game without the referees. We blew all kind of shit up in that game. That guy should have caught the touchdown, all kind of stuff going on. I watched that game back and forth, man, and what I realized, the Saints had many opportunities to win that game. The referee didn't make the call. That was dirty, no doubt about it. It was dirty as hell. That's absolutely true. But the robbery happened when the Saints didn't execute the way they're supposed to, because they was way better than that team. They screwed it up. And even Sean Payton said at the end of the game, man, yeah, we were too conservative. That man, what's his face, was going for it. McVay was going for it on 4th downs. He wanted the game more. Sean Payton playing conservative and doing all this crazy backward stuff, players dropping the ball, blowing coverage, missing tackles. Nah, fam. Nah, I don't agree with that. Jose said grades of free agents and the draft so far: Buccaneers 1, Panthers 2, Saints 3, Falcons 4. We'll see. Who that for life? Chris Field says worst safety we ever had was Jarvis Bird. No disagreement from that. Jamin says every pass to Browner was a PI or he got dusted. Travis Jones says bad calling by Payton and referees calling beat us. Jason King says Browner was worse than David for sure. Debo says Bird and Browner were our starters. That's terrible. Let's see, 95 says I could play better than 50-50 offensive play calling. No Saint says less miles for offensive play calls, 3 yards and punt. Donovan says you win in the trenches, running the ball. You got to punch people. You got to punch. Oh, it jumped on me here. All right, let me see here. Inevitable Expertise says Fred Weary was awful. Yeah, I remember Fred Weary. He was terrible. D. Granger says Q, you tripping. McKenzie played real good for us. Really, bro? Nah, dog. I remember McKenzie. Mike McKenzie, bro. Well, he was garbage, bro. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I remember he used to get burnt all the time. He was given all that money by the Saints, and the fact that the Saints didn't have quality safety play. Go back and look at them games when him getting torched out there, looking like the Predator with the braids hanging out, getting torched. And then he had a low football IQ too. Didn't know how to. He did stuff like what PJ Williams do. He didn't turn and get the ball. He didn't do none of that. He just would get toasted. He didn't have that, man. He didn't get a lot of interceptions like he was paid to do. I have a different recollection of Mike McKenzie than you do, family. And I remember Mike McKenzie, and I remember watching him get toast because he was fundamentally tore up. He would not go and turn and look for the ball and all that. It's just like if he made a play on the ball by accident, it's just, he was just wrong, man. He was wrong. And then you look at the safety play. The Saints had the safety play was suspect. When he was in Green Bay, Mike McKenzie had safeties, really good safeties that was protecting him. And he looked a lot better than what he did with the Saints because he didn't have such protections here. But I have a different recollection than you do, fam. I'm just keep it real. We can agree to disagree on it. But I know what I seen, man. He was hit. Torrey Cook was terrible too, man. A lot of terrible. I don't even want to talk about these awful ass cornerbacks, y'all. We had our share of pathetic, trash, unfundamental, pathetic ass cornerbacks, and that's why I be preaching the defensive principles. Thank you, Zendel. Thank you. Zendel said, I just want to support. Thank you, Zendel. Appreciate you, fam. Much love to you. Join it. I don't know if you're a subscriber, but join the family, Zendel. Thank you, family. Much love to you for your donation. Truly, Xanem said, I think we went through. I lost this comment here. Hold on here. Comment just jumped on me. Marty Frost says, I think the league has it out for Sean Payton for what he did a few years back. That's why he always gets the bad calls. Yeah, but it's a way to play above that. We know that the NFL controls the referees and pretend like they don't. We know that they give instruction to the referees through their headsets. We know that when they put the headset on with the mic and go watch the instant replay, you see their mouth moving and talking, who they're talking to. We know that the game is severely controlled by the onset. They cannot allow even some of the most remote stuff to happen, but just because they created that don't mean that you can't beat the system. Everything, all that shit could be beat. But the problem is you have to do what you're supposed to do. You have to execute and get teams out of here. You can't now allow the game to get too close, because that's the area where the referees will start making suspect calls to beat you. But the Saints beat the referees in the NFL all last year during the regular season. Thank you, Zandel. Thank you for joining. 13-3 the Saints were the last couple of years. In both years, they beat the referees. And last year, they were openly making calls against the Saints. The Saints still ended up 13-3. The problem is when you get into the playoffs and you don't obey the scouting reports, and you don't run the ball against they can't stop the run, and you don't run the ball like you're supposed to, and you try to continue to do silly ass stuff like run sideline to sideline on a fast defense, and you don't make the proper adjustments, you basically hand the game to them, and Sean Payton basically played right into their hands. Then at the end of the game, where guys was on the field crying, like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and others, Sean Payton just, like he was loaded up on Prozac, walks right on up to the guy, which is Stephon Diggs, chopper styling in his face with no expression. He wasn't pissed off. He wasn't mad. Drew Brees even laughed at the press conference. That's what pissed a lot of people off, because we expect you to perform better. And that's when the line gets close to football and entertainment, to see what's really going on here. Because we watch you play all season long, and then you get to a point where your team wasn't even together. You wasn't even running the scouting report, because I had the scouting report. I was quoting from the scouting report, saying that I knew what the Minnesota Vikings weakness was. And it was a good scouting report, because the San Francisco 49ers the next week destroyed the Vikings with that scouting report. Destroyed them. Sean Payton didn't honor it and didn't give a damn after he took his check. Then the next week, what did he do? He took his rotten ass over and set up on the television and was telling the 49ers how to beat the Vikings. How dare you? I don't want to see your ass up there. After stinking up the building, he immediately calls them or get a job on the NFL or whatever to go talk about the team. Are you kidding me? How does that look? What is the optics of that? You tell me if that even looks right. And people say, well, you did it already. Nah, dude, the optics on that is all bad and almost speak to you playing into their hands purposely, I dare say. Because the optics, look at the optics. The next week he was on television during the game, speaking for them, doing analytical work for the Niners and the Vikings game the next week, after your team bottomed out and lost to that team again. And you there on the TV doing it? No, the optics is all wrong on that, partner. And I'm a dude that pay attention to that type of stuff. Optics was all wrong. But that's the thing, when you're a critical thinking person, you got to do that. The optics was all bad. You and I both know that. All right, big ups to the family member here. Let's see. No Saint says Cook had Gene Atkins and Brett Maxey to help clean up. That's true. And that's probably was the best combination of Saints safeties that I can remember. I mean, seriously. They've had trouble putting good safety play down here in New Orleans for a while. It's been a while. Travis Jones says, didn't we pick up a cornerback from the XFL? Yeah, Dimitrik. I forgot his name. His name is Dimitrik, though. But I think, I forgot his name. But yeah, they did pick him up. He's in the mix. Let's see, another extra T says, all those cornerbacks were terrible, but Jackson, Mills, Johnson, Swilling were all beasts. Dome patrols. Yeah, secondary, the cornerbacks were bad. The safeties, Brett Maxey and Gene Atkins, were damn good together. But the cornerback play was suspect as hell. I don't know how they got it that wrong. But everywhere else was something else. And that just shows you that you can have weak-ass cornerbacks, but the pressure of the Saints defense up front was getting to the quarterbacks. They were stopping the run, and they were getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. That show you how important pressure is. Sacks and getting sacks on the opposing quarterback, how it can mask a lot of ugliness in your defense. When you are able to rush the passer and get sacks and strip fumbles, it covers up a lot of ugly-ass stuff on your defense. And that's proof positive with the Saints' historical defense. DLP says Fred Thomas was a small corner, but he was an effort guy. In 06, he was a veteran at that point. And long in the tooth just wasn't top-level cornerback. He gave you effort. That's true. That's what I said about Fred Thomas. Fred gave you an effort. I remember one time he played in the playoff game against the Bears with a club on his hand. His hand was broken. He really tried his hard. He was an effort guy. His effort wasn't good enough. Let's see. Gene Atkins, Kevin says, used to knock people, jock off. Derek says Travis, yeah, before the draft. Who that nation is? Corey White. Saints legend. Wow, Corey White. I remember that trash can. Roscoe says Bridgewater to Winston next year. Let's go for Rodgers. No Saints. Winston is better paid for them. Crag lays here in Big Easy. Kelvin says Winston is going to be standing outside Castnets like Who That For Life. Chris Field says Panthers Twitter account quoted Winston saying, "I thought Hill was franchise QB. I was like, did you forget you bought a flipped house in a QB from us?" Kenny Sutton says Corey White. JT said I see a secondary that was going to give the league problem. Let's see. Jameis says Aaron Brooks threw the ball backwards. Let's not talk about him. I think one of the most pathetic plays I've ever seen as a Saint, and there are quite a few of them, is when Danny Awful Waffle was the quarterback, and the guy grabbed his head, his face mask, and turned his helmet around on his head, and he was scrambling around with a helmet turned around backwards on his head. The referee didn't even call the penalty. And let me see if I can pull up a picture, because see, we got a lot of young Saints people in here. They might not remember Danny Awful Waffle running around with his helmet turned on backwards. That was during the Mike Dicker ever. And boy, was that a laugh and a half watching that. Let me see if I can pull up that famous picture of him running around with his helmet backwards. That summarized the Saints, how they played, how often. That's one of the terriblest pictures. I remember watching the Saints and seeing Danny Waffle with his running around with the helmet turned on back. Let me see if I can find that picture somewhere. It's got to be on here somewhere, because that was a joke and a half. Y'all remember that? Let me know if y'all remember that. When Danny Waffle was running around, the guy spun his helmet around, and he was running around with his helmet on backwards. It was during the Mike Dick ever. I'm going to see if I can pull up the picture and remind people of how, boy, was he terrible as a Saint. Oh, my goodness. He was awful. Okay, this is a picture here of it. It's not a great picture, but looked like this the only one that I could see here. Let me see if I can find it here. Give me a second. I'm gonna share it with you so I can show you just what I'm talking about. Yep. Then I don't see any other one. And for time restraints, I won't keep looking. But this is the picture. Let me show my screen with you. Y'all probably remember this nonsense. Y'all remember this here? This picture. This is Danny Waffle. Look at his helmet turned backwards. The guy, I think it was against the Redskins. The Redskins guy turned his helmet around. See, it's backwards on his head. Look where this is the front of his face. Look where the helmet is. It's backwards. The guy spun his helmet around on his head. The referee didn't make the call. And this dude scrambling around with the helmet backwards. This is the literal image of what it was to be under Mike Dicker's system. You see that? That's what I'm talking about. That's what kind of stuff I remember when we talk about Saint stuff. I remember all that stuff in my head about that foolishness. Running around with his helmet turned backwards. And when they tackled the Mike Dicker just went like this. But if you did that, that's your team, stupid. All right, fam, let's keep it going here. Much love to the family. I'm going to answer a few more questions here, fam. Travis says, no, the worst play I've ever seen is when Marshawn Lynch ran. That is another bad one. But I guess I can reframe it and say that's the most pathetic play I've ever seen. How about that? Because that was terrible, too, where Marshawn Lattimore ran through the entire team for a touchdown. That was really sad. But let me just reframe it as the most pathetic play was that one I just showed you. Buddy D was raging out Waffle, LOL. He was terrible. You know, Waffle was awful. New iPass, I remember Sammy Knight had a 99-yard interception against the Vikes. Yep, Willie Jackson. Y'all remember that one. Roscoe says, my sister dated him in high school. Sad to mention, he went to Fort Walton Beach High School. Danny is a preacher. That's what Kevin says. Red Hood Saint says, I remember I have Danny Waffle's rookie jersey. Okay. Debo says, Aaron Brooks smiling after throwing interceptions and fumbles, walking to the sidelines used to kill me to the soul. Yeah, because, that made me upset too. I remember that. Yep, I remember that. Roscoe says he's a really nice guy. Broke a lot of records in Gainesville with the Gators. Yeah, he was operating under the old ball coach, they call him, Steve Spurrier. He was operating under Steve Spurrier's system all those years. He was, and to say that the guy had limitations in terms of throwing a deep ball, but he mastered the hell out of that offense that he had now. And yeah, he was a good college quarterback, but boy, was he something stinky on a pro level. Crash says, hey Q, with so many scouts saying the 2020 wide receiver draft so deep with talent, why do you think the Saints didn't select one, not even in the lower rounds? That's a good question, my family. I don't know, bro. If they have stuck to keeping all their draft picks, I'm pretty sure the Saints would have gotten a good wide receiver. They just were so enthralled with this tight end from Dayton that they decided to give up all of the draft picks to get this guy. And I understand that they really liked him, but I was like, man, there's so many other really good tight ends that you can have, like Pickney from Vanderbilt. There was still Thad Moss out there. There were a lot of really good tight ends that could have come in because none of those guys were going to start right away. They would need a year or so on the team to be able to get an opportunity to play next year, but they were in love with this guy. They made a play. But I would have thought that they would have, if they had kept the rest of their picks, they most certainly would have took a wide receiver. But getting the tight end like they did really kind of accelerated things in terms of the offense, because perhaps they wanted to do the 3 tight end sets. Remember, we've been preaching about the 3 tight end sets, and this guy could be the future once Cook leaves. Once Jared Cook is gone with his $8 million a season, you have a cheaper option in both Josh Hill and this young tight end coming in the game. So, I mean, I would have wanted to take a wide receiver too, bro, just to help him out. But they got this young kid, Jawan Johnson, who was like supposed to be a later pick. They picked him up 6'4", 230 pounds. So I'm just seeing what he has here. We'll see. 985 Live became a member. Thank you, 985. Much love to you, my family. Appreciate your fam. Big ups to you. And that's the thing I think about. Also, there's the Taysom Hill component, bro. Let's remember that, because Taysom Hill's not going to be a quarterback. We know that. And they drafted this other guy to be a Taysom Hill clone. So we know Taysom Hill's going to play mostly at the wide receiver position. Maybe perhaps that's why they didn't draft the wide receiver. They didn't see a need for it, being that over the next 2 years, they'll be using Taysom Hill in that capacity. Just food for thought to throw in that realm with the wide receiver. Thanks for the question there, Crass. Big ups to you. Hope you're doing well out there, family. Roscoe says he's a really nice guy. Broke a lot of records. Yeah, I read that one. Thank you, Roscoe. Kevin Woods, who that T, said, what about Kyle Turley and that helmet crap? Actually, there was, that was bad officiating right there. And Kyle Turley just got upset because I think it was a late hit on the quarterback. That's what it was on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Brooks, I'm sorry. And Kyle Turley got messed up and just tore the dude's helmet off and threw it down the field. And people was like, yeah, because he got really upset because it was a late hit on the quarterback that was blatant, and the referees just didn't throw a flag, and he just lost his composure. So I like that. That wasn't considered a bad play. In my opinion, I was feeling Kyle Turley. He was really upset about that, and rightfully so. But I would say that. But thank you for that statement, though, fam. Ernest said, hold on here, might have skipped while I was talking. Seth Griffin, what up, Seth? Good to see you. A Ward, Zach says Mike Dicker messed over Ricky Williams. Jameis, had him in a wedding dress, and he's standing there with the. I would never have agreed to that. Ricky Williams, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you putting on a wedding dress and standing there next to Mike Dicker, and he wearing dreads in a tuxedo? I would have never done that, man. Where your manhood at, man? Cut that out. Jameis says, how do we have 2 quarterbacks named Billy Joe? Now, that's crazy. You have Billy Joe Hobart and Billy Joe Tolliver. Both of them stunk. Billy Joe Tolliver was awful, and Billy Joe Hobart had some characteristics. When he was healthy, he played well. The problem with Hobart is he could not stay healthy, and he got hurt all the time. And if Mike Dicker would pick 2 quarterbacks like Billy Joe Hobart or Tolliver was beyond me. The man was absolutely out of his mind. No doubt about it. True. A Red Hooded Saint says Brooks was the QB when our first playoff game. He had the Rams number back then. Can't hate him too much. Seth said just join. What happened? Talking Saints, family. No Saints said after Abel, we had a handful of bad QBs, exception of Jim Everett. Everett came in after his Rams career. We got him on the tail end. He used to tear the Saints up with Flipper Anderson and Aaron Cox and Cleveland Gary and the rest of those dudes over there. And he came here and he just didn't have it. We also got Kerry Collins toward the back end of his years too. He was an alcoholic, couldn't stay there. But we got a lot of talent, but that's what the Saints was doing. They didn't want to spend for top-notch talent, so they'll bottom out and try to steal a bargain into. Most times it work against them, And even when they developed talent, they didn't keep them. They let them walk on. Hence Bobby Hebert, hence Martin Anderson, hence Ricky Williams, hence Sam Mills, hence Vaughn Johnson. All of the key people that earned their way here ultimately ended up leaving because the Saints at that time was so cheap and ridiculous that they didn't want to keep none of the talent. Inevitable XC says, when we have a good monumental play like Jerome's Payton TD against the Jags to tie it, I like that one. Something bad happens with the Carney miss. Yeah, I remember that. No Saints says after Hebert we had, okay, I read that one. Gillesso 12 says Aaron Brooks needs to look up wasn't. Aaron Brooks needs to look up wasn't. Okay, thank you, Crass. Thank you, Crass, for your donation, my family. Much love to you. Thank you, sir, for your donation. Metalhead says Jennifer was done when he came here. I agree with your family. Who That Nation says Corey, Billy, Joe, Back, Browner. Wow. Ernest says the worst play was Garcia missing that field goal after several laterals got the Saints into easy down. Yeah, there was a guy, a friend of mine that I knew, that told me that his father passed away on that play. I'm not kidding. He told me that he don't watch the Saints anymore. And I said, why not? He said, because his father passed away on that play. When they did all that lateral, got down there, got into chip shot, and then the guy went down there and missed it. He said his father passed away, had a heart attack right there. You know, his father was a major Saints fan. So don't get too invested in that like that, because it done hurt people. That's a true story. I'm just going to tell you right up. I'm not on believing making fiction stuff up, but that's a true story. Ernest said the worst play was, Leslie Tramal says Marcus Williams getting all the memorial moments now. Metalhead says, look at Jim Rome interview with Jim Everett, LOL. No Saints says he broke the Saints passing records when he was here. Roscoe says, sad to say the same for Tim Couch. Awesome numbers in college, yet couldn't play at the pro level. It happens too. You know, could be systems they go to. You never know. You know, it might have been a wrong system. And sometimes that hurts the development, and then he loses confidence, and then game over with. You know, but that's a good point, Tim Couch, on that, Roscoe. Thank you. Ernest says, I was in SD when AB threw that ball. He got hit as he threw it. Who That for Life? Chris Field says, I love Johan, but soon as he signed with those hashtag Wise Up Falcons, I lost his jersey. The Saints didn't want to pay him. And that's payback to the player. Notice they all did that. You had Martin Anderson went to the Falcons. Bobby Hebert went to the Falcons. A lot of that happened. Johan went to the Falcons. A lot of that was done to kind of get back at the Saints and play in a division. Sam Mills left and then went to the Panthers and played for them. So, I mean, Ricky Jackson left and went to the 49ers, won a Super Bowl. Pat Swilling left and went to the Detroit Lions. And that just didn't happen on defense. That happened on offense too. Like I was just naming some of the offensive pieces. A lot of people then left to different teams because the Saints developed them, but their man didn't want to pay them. It was cheap and garbage, and that's what made a lot of people upset. And ultimately, when it came down to it, asking for brand new stadiums, but you was losing games. You can't ask for brand new stadiums or renovations to stadiums if your team's stinking. You got to be winning to do it. Benson went before this happened, all before Katrina, went to the state, into the city, and demanded that the Saints in the city and the state build the Saints a new facility to play out of. For real, this is what happened. They won't give you rosy colored glasses and all this kind of nonsense. But the truth is, he went to the city and the state and demanded them to build a brand new stadium. They told him, no, we ain't building you no stadium. We'll renovate the dome. No, I don't want the dome. It don't have enough suites in it. And he was making top-notch money now. But that just shows you the greed of people, man, for real. Let's see. He says, remember Blake to Pickens connection in Cincy. Heat Shula. I remember Heat Shula. Oh, my goodness, was he terrible here. Next year, my brief could difference. Jose, what up? He says maybe the Saints can get a wide receiver when they cut it to 53. Kevin says could beat is on Halloween trick or treat. And LFC says the best play was when Breeze threw a pick and Meacham stripped it. Homeboy from Washington and score. I love that play. That was a really nice play. Revolt Control, who that? He says Steve Walsh. Walsh, baby. Remember that? They did the vanilla ice thing and then did Steve Walsh, baby, and all that kind of nonsense. We traded, I think it was either a second or fourth round pick for Steve Walsh from the Cowboys. And boy, was he garbage. But they were selling it on the media, Steve Walsh, baby, and all that nonsense. Roscoe says, remember when we had Jake Delhomme and Mark Balger and two former Saints that made decent names? Yeah, I remember Mark Balger was a career backup, and then he went to the Rams and really blew up. You know, I remember we had Mark Balger and Jake Delhomme wanted to stay here, but another one of them stories. Saints didn't want to play him, and they chose Delhomme They chose Aaron Brooks over Jake Delhomme. Delhomme left the Carolina and dominated the Saints during his period of time playing the Carolina. Even took them to a Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's something else. Lionel says, what up, Lionel? He says, what's up, Q and fam? What's the brain teaser for today? Talking Saints. Who the He said, here's the thing, Adrian Peterson would have worked if he would have just decided to play a role. And you're like, we have Ingram, Kamara, you can't get all the carries. Yeah, but see, he told him this is another deception. This is another role of a deception. He lied to Adrian Peterson and told Adrian Peterson, because I remember that because I was playing the interview. I remember talking about the interview and listening to the interview and saying, I remember that because that's why Adrian Peterson would get mad and give him the stare down and look at him angrily. He would have not signed with the Saints if Sean Payton would have told him, listen, we're going to put you in offense. You're going to be a main focus in offense. We're going to get you running, yada, yada. And that was the sticking point. Adrian Peterson said, I'm not coming to be a backup. I want to compete in the offense. You got to give me some reps. And Sean Payton told him he was going to give him his carries. So what happened when the game started? Why was he so upset? Because Sean Payton deceived him. He misdirected him. He lied to him. The same thing happened with Adrian Peterson. That's why he said, no, I got to trade this guy out of here. Because Sean Payton was had told him that he was going to get carries and he didn't get that man no carries. That's why Adrian Peterson was looking at him upset. Every time. Remember that? He was staring at him, mad, looking at him, and then Sean Payton would turn around and walk the other way. And I was like, what's going on here? Because he told him before he signed that he was going to give him the reps, that he was going to run them and use them, and he didn't. That's why I was saying about Sean Payton is a liar. And I keep giving y'all examples. The Adrian Peterson situation is another example of that because I remember that situation. And Adrian Peterson wouldn't be mad at you if you was telling, look, we'll get you in if we can. And then he would be like, well, the man said he'll get me in the game if he can. But then he turns around and then keeps you out of the game and give you 1 or 2 carries. He didn't come to the Saints for 1 or 2 carries. Look what's happening with the Washington Redskins. When he left from here, he went to Washington, got re-signed again, and they're giving him carries. That's what he signed on for. He didn't come here to be a third string running back where he got 2 or 3 carries a game. That's not what he signed with the Saints for. Another deception. And I'm pretty sure if I think hard enough, I can come up with another several of them tied to Sean Payton. He's been deceiving a long time. He's been down here for over 10 years. All right, Mario Gelesso 12 says Mario Bates horrible pick for the running back. I remember Mario Bates, man. I remember him. Jermaine says everybody dominate the Saints back in the day. No Saints says we have 2 washed up QBs. We had to pass Ken Stabler and Richard Tide. Wow. Lori, who that to you? Lori, good to see you, baby, in the chat. Cedric Books, who that to you? Says, I think we need to look at the big picture about gadget plays. Think about how hard it's hard for defense to cover the Saints. It will keep them off guard. That's true, and I love that. Gadget plays do keep you off guard because it's a nuance that you throw in when you're running your basic offense, and then all of a sudden you hit it with the gadget plays. I'm not really have a problem with that aspect of it. I just think that Sean Payton's not doing that no more. What he's doing now is he's incorporating the gadget plays as a key focal point into the offense to the detriment of other people around him. Taysom Hill is not getting paid all that money to be a quarterback. We know that. He's giving that money so he could be a wide receiver and a running back. That's what it is. This is deception. Now, people don't understand that. Because if he really would play quarterback, then he would be in the quarterback room. People got to get it that he can't learn 3 things at the same time. There are rooms that you need to be in or groups that you be under where you learn the verbiage and everything else. How is he supposed to learn how to be a quarterback if he's in the running back room learning how to run routes? He's supposed to be in the quarterback room throwing the ball. That's how they're developed. That's how you develop a quarterback, in the quarterback room where he's getting the instruction as a quarterback. You did not tell me that he is not. Yeah, Alex Molden was terrible too. That to me probably would be the worst cornerback we ever had. Alex Molden was terrible. He sucked. I probably would change my vote and say that Alex Molden is the worst cornerback we ever had. That's my vote on it. Alex Molden, good one, fam. I remember that. I just don't want to dig that deep for all that trash, all them trash cans. But no, but the gadget stuff is to me is good only when you utilize it in proportion to your regular offense. And I just think that's a shame because what's going on is we using Taysom Hill and we're paying him this money because of his wide receiver ability and the fact that he runs the ball, which you can sprinkle that in every now and again. Last year, he threw less than 30. He threw what 13 passes last year? Less than that from the quarterback position, but he's supposed to be a quarterback. I'm telling you, it'd be more of the same. Sean Payton is not looking at him as a quarterback. You cannot logically say that he's the future quarterback of anything, and all he does is throw he only threw 13 passes over his summation of time of being an NFL quarterback. I just can't go with you on that. Well, not you, but people on that. But what I'm saying is that you have to have a stable component to the offense. You just can't gimmick everything. The gimmick is not, it ain't hitting on nothing unless you can surprise people with it. You get what I'm saying? It only works if you surprise them with it. But how you going to surprise them with it if you're running it 10 to 15 times a game? That ain't no gimmick play when you're doing it like that. Imagine if you go out there and every game you run 3 fake punts or 3 fake field goals. Sooner or later, they're going to catch on, right? You can't do a fake field goal every game. They're going to catch on. They're going to catch on with it. This is the same thing with this. People saying this gimmick is no longer a gimmick and I moved to the realm of gimmick. That's the key. That's the people ain't keeping it real. It's no longer a gimmick. I've been saying it. There's no longer a gimmick play component to this anymore. This is now moved into one of the main nuances of your offense now. And it's detrimental to the development of people like Traquan Smith, because that guy got to steal reps from somebody to get on the field. If he's out there catching the pass, he's stealing reps from Traquan Smith or whoever these young wide receivers we're supposed to be developing. These guys are wide receivers. Why are we using the quarterback to play wide receiver, bro? I mean, seriously, because he's so athletic. If that's the case, then why don't you get athletic wide receivers? Because I'm pretty sure they got athletic wide receivers that can run as fast and powerful as a Taysom Hill. Why we just, you see what my logic is? It is a lazy man's way of trying to do stuff as opposed to fixing the wide receiver room where we can go 4 wide receivers deep and have wide receivers that done that their whole goddamn career in college that run routes and catch the ball. And then people say Traquan Smith is garbage and this guy's stealing his reps. He's stealing his reps. He's stealing his. How is he supposed to develop when the backup quarterback is playing wide receiver? See, I can't get into this because then I'll start going off on some other stuff. Because I know better than this. For him to tell Sean Payton to say, oh, we're going to keep him as a quarterback. I've been saying this the whole time that Sean Payton don't have any intention of playing that man at quarterback. Why you paid him all that money is to appease him to play wide receiver and running back. It's just not going to be a quarterback. And if it was, that goes all into the fact of the matter. You get a clone of Taysom Hill when you should have got a clone of Drew Brees. I said this over and over again. Why are we getting clones of Taysom Hill when we should be getting clones of Drew Brees? Huh? Why nobody mentioning that? Oh, we got him because he a clone of Taysom. But we not gonna talk about why we not looking for Drew Brees clones. Why we not looking for this? I'm gonna just leave it alone because I'm gonna go on another spiel and I don't feel like doing it right now. James says Brandon Coleman on IG living doing workouts with 2 viewers. Cedric Brooks says Sean is a football guru. He knows football and he knows how to get the best out of his players. Winston will be okay with the Saints. You know the Saints make stars. We'll see, family. We'll see. And, we'll see. I know Payton is good at what he does. And he has to give that guy the instruction. I think he can do it. But it's Sean Payton in collage with Drew Brees, because I think that Winston will learn more from Drew Brees than he would do from Sean Payton, because Drew Brees will show him how to do it the correct way. It's up to Winston to get on the same page with Drew Brees and borrow his routine, just like Taysom Hill did, to elevate himself into the level need to be. That means getting on the workout program, the regimens, the visualization practices, all of that. He will learn more from Drew Brees because Drew's going to teach him. Then he'll learn from Sean Payton. That's the bottom line. So I understand the Payton element, but this is really an opportunity for him to learn from an all-time great on the field, and that's really another level. Jaslow 12 says Chad Martin, LOL satellite back, only put him to the pass the ball. Roscoe says, funny news, if 2020 Tampa Bay takes Taysom and makes him. Red Hood says, Red Hood says, back when Mario Bates was a horrible offense, a line except for Rolf Bates played well for the Cardinals after he left. He was decent for the Cardinals. I remember Mario Bates. Galaxy Eyes Black Dragon says, Taysom Hill is a better football player than Traquan Smith. Your answer to that. Quan Smith. Hold on. Let me see if I remember Quan Smith. Let me look this guy up. I can't answer that question because I don't remember Quan Smith. Hold on here. Maybe I can get it, refresh my mind. I'm trying to answer your question here, fam. Let me see if I can go back and look up Quan Smith. Maybe I can get to the answer. Let's see. Quan Smith. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one, family. Let me see if I can, because I don't remember Quan Smith. Oh, you mean Traquan Smith? Is that what you're saying? Traquan Smith? Is that Traquan Smith? Is that what you're saying? Galaxy says, I don't know. I think he might be trying to say Traquan Smith. Quan Smith, or Traquan, okay. Traquan Smith, I think that's what he's saying. My answer to Taysom Hill is a better football player than Traquan Smith. Right now, definitely, he's better. And how did Taysom Hill get as good as he got? He did it in practice. He got a lot of reps in the game. A lot of reps in the game. And that's like with any player. You got to get opportunities to get meaningful reps in live action. And I just think that what happened with him and Ted Ginn Jr. last year was a shame because Ted Ginn Jr. didn't help him. They should have benched Ted Ginn Jr., put Traquan out there. Now he going to this final year. He's dealing with, now that you have the highest paid backup in the league, second highest paid backup in the league, Taysom's going to see the field a lot. At wide receiver, all running back, stuff like that, which means that's bad news for Traquan Smith. So he's the guy that's going to suffer in this whole matrix. So Emmanuel Sanders starts automatically. Taysom Hill's going to see the field, and Traquan Smith definitely not going to get the snappage, and whatever he gets, hopefully he takes advantage of it in this year. But it's more of the same. Then talk about the development of these players and stepping up. How are they supposed to develop if they don't see the field and in their meaningful repetitions? We ain't just talking about practice. We're talking about live action, bro. That's how Taysom Hill was able to get as good as he's got in the Saints system because of live action. You know, and we'll see how it goes. But I agree with you. Taysom Hill is a better football player than Traquan Smith at this time of his development. He is. He's more meaningful, more impactful to the Saints offense. He has a better handle on the Saints offense than Traquan Smith is right now. Traquan shows flashes too far in between, but we'll just have to wait and see. But it's not good news for Traquan Smith. He's going to have to fight. He got to have a heart of a lion and fight his ass into that. No Saints said, do you want the Saints to get rid of Payton? I think he's doing a pretty good job. Nope. I'm not saying get rid of Sean Payton. I'm saying that Sean Payton needs to balance himself. And to get to Super Bowls, Sean Payton needs to start doing the correct thing. And for far too long, he gets away from the run, stubbornly gets away from the run, and it hurts the team. And I mean, hurts the team insofar as that you should have had 3 Super Bowls by now. A lot of this is done for the fact that Sean Payton is not doing the correct things in the playoffs. His teams are not prepared to win games in the playoffs. Like what happened last year in the Minnesota Vikings, that was on Sean Payton totally. When you see players struggling, you got to adjust and get the ball out of their hands. If you've seen Drew Brees struggling, he ain't have it, get the running game going. Switch things up, put Taysom Hill in there. He could have sparked the offense because he was sparking the offense already until Drew turned the damn ball over. So like I said, you got to have the they call it clairvoyance, to be able to see things happening and be able to make the adjustments to come out on top. And far often in the playoffs, Sean Payton's not making critical adjustments that's needed and not preparing his teams correctly to win or push the team deeper into the playoffs. So no, I'm not talking about firing him, but he needs to understand that the talent of the team, you already got the talent. It's not about having more talent. It's about the scheme. And what are you doing that to the offense where you need to be more of a balanced play caller, or perhaps turn the play calling duties over to your offensive coordinator so you can be the head coach and pay attention to the whole team as opposed to sit there with a call sheet in your hand, calling plays all game. You got a coordinator for that. You know, it's just, and I go off into other thing. But I'm saying he's doing a pretty good job for the regular season. But it's going to, by next year, if he falls through the floor in the playoffs, then there'll be a history. All this other stuff about the Super Bowl won't mean a hill of beans because you'll be then marked as a guy that can't get there anymore. You done lost it. And the reason being is because you ain't sticking to the principles. It's not hard. Go back to the regular stuff. Run the ball and play defense. That is what, and then all else you want to do it off the back of that. And that's not just me. That's Bill Parcells will tell him that. He gets cute too often. And the problem is he has too much power that nobody can ring him in and tell him, you need to balance the team by running the ball. There is nobody on the staff that's going to tell him that. Mickey Loomis won't tell him that because Mickey Loomis don't know about the football like that, and he lets them have a lot of freedom, which is wrong. If something goes wrong and they lose like they did against the Vikings, Sean Payton just comes out and say they were a better team than us. And I say you're a damn lie. They was not a better team. You screwed it up because they wasn't prepared to play. Who's doing that in the Saints organization? Who's doing that? Nobody. He has too much power. That's the problem over there. And he's not a person that's good at counterbalancing the power. I said this on the last show. He doesn't have the ability mentally to counterbalance the power he has. If he has, he would have 2 or 3 Super Bowls by now, as opposed to hanging your goddamn hat on one that happened years ago. The problem is you have to have the mentality. And even if you're not capable of it, understanding that you can't do it and put people around that can pull your coattail. Why would you want absolute power like a tyrant? You know, that's why you're seeing so much dysfunction in the playoffs, and they come out and say stuff like they just outplayed us. Much love to the Vikings. Big ups to the Vikings. They just outplayed us. Nope. What about your dumbass play on 4th down? What about your dumbass play on 3rd down? What about the fact that you didn't make adjustments for when they inverted the defensive line, had Daniil Hunter? All these questions I ask, and I challenge all the time. I don't just eat what they give me. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to challenge everything they tell you. Because you looking at it, you have a perspective, you have a critical analysis, and just because he says it doesn't make it the truth. Use your common sense and your know-how and your knowledge. You know what I'm talking about is the truth. You cannot then allow these people just to talk at you like you don't know what you're looking at. You can't allow them. I'm the expert, so I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to tell you that this is how it is. You need to cook them steaks better. You need to cut them steaks better. You need to worry about parking that car better. You need to worry about your job and leave my job to me. I'm the head coach. I'm the expert. You don't have nobody around you pulling your coattail, bro. You falling through the floor in the playoffs and you look horrible and terrible against the Minnesota Vikings. Your team did not come to play until the last 4 minutes of the game. And then when it can, your Hall of Fame quarterback couldn't even operate a 2-minute offense. But you're going to say they played better than us? No, that was self-inflicted. A lot of the things that the Saints were doing was self-inflicted to that they were tearing their own selves down. And people can't see that? Huh? It was what he says. It's never what he says. It's always a critical component and a second layer analysis, maybe a 3rd or 4th, even a 5th to it. But it's never truly what they say. That's why in this world, they pull this stuff, that data authority, you challenge all that nonsense. That's what I'm talking about here. That is absolute. I'm saying it to his face. And I invited them countless times to come on here. Them people ain't going to come on here unless they can control it, because they never know what I'm going to say. They never know what I'm going to say, baby. They don't know, baby. I'm going to let Reverend Saint talk at you. They don't know, baby. They don't know what he going to say, baby. That scared the hell out of them, baby. They want a script, baby. They want to read off a script, baby. They want the answers to what you're going to ask them, baby, so they can prepare, so they don't be prepared, baby. They don't know what Big Q going to come out here and say, man. Shit, I don't even know what I'm going to say. I invited them, man. I invited them like I invite all the reporters and all the family members to come on here. I don't have no problem talking to nobody, but get ready, because I'm going to hit your ass. I know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to hit you with it. And a lot of them, like I said, I might not be no head coach in the NFL, but you don't need to be a head coach in the NFL to talk football. It's a children's game, man. It's a children's game played by grown-ass men. It's a children's game. It's not supposed to be complicated. It's complicated because of deception, because I'm going to trick you by thinking I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It's all deception. See, that's why he practices deception, because he employs it so much in his offensive schematic that he then chooses to use it in real life when making and dealing with people in real life. It's a cutoff point, I guess. You practicing in the game, then it moves from the game to real life. Then he just used to using it. That's what it got to be. Who that to you, Cedric? I see you. But family, like I said, we know both the Minnesota Vikings wasn't better than the Saints last year. You know that. They might have played better than the Saints in certain aspects, but it was the Saints doing that. I heard reporters on the radio talking about the Saints couldn't run the ball because the Minnesota Vikings were stopping them. No, the Saints didn't run the ball because the Saints didn't run the ball. They ran it a few times and stopped. If they really was serious about it, wouldn't they have put a fullback and tight ends up against that line and ran that ball up the middle with them 2 pass rushers there? When Daniil Hunter and Everson Griffin switched to run the pressure, Drew Brees up the center, the Saints went to a running play and then pushed them the hell out and mauled them to death. You can't tell me that them big dogs up there wouldn't have mauled them to death. It's ways in it's a counter play for every play that you have. It was Sean Payton sitting up there with his ego involved, like he did against the Niners. The same player, certain coaches that he wants to beat him his way. And then he said, we got caught into the flow of the game. So political. I said, and I called him out so you didn't get caught into the flow of the game. You got caught into the flow of your ego because you forego the game plan to beat him in a humiliating method that you thought was sufficient. against Kyle Shanahan, who you had a long rivalry with since his time as the offensive coordinator at Atlanta Falcons. See, you can go back and look at that. But Shanahan won round 1 and might run round 2 if this fool don't get it together with the running game. You cannot win in the playoffs without a running game. That's the bottom line, man. So all this stuff about having Taysom Hill as a gadget guy means absolutely jack squat to me, because people know what happens when Taysom Hill comes out there, that he's going to time. Very rarely does he throw the ball. And during the entire summation of the 2019 season, he threw the ball 13 times. Look it up. You talk about lopsided shit. That don't do no good to have a gimmick play where everybody know what the gimmick is, bro. That's like telling a joke that everybody knows the answer to. Nobody gonna laugh at a joke they know the answer to. Just saying, man, I'm keeping it real, baby. Jose says, someone think Jamar, they stole the game from Falcons' first playoff win. We lost because of no instant replay to charge at the last 3 or 4 timeouts. Shedrick says, what up, fam? Tom Elliott Music, what up, fam? Jack Baptiste, what up, Jack? He says, long as Breeze in the building, Sean will never be at his best. He doesn't want to develop a quarterback. I mean, when was that done? I'll wait. No, he doesn't develop quarterbacks. He had an opportunity several times over to draft young quarterbacks in the draft. Jalen Hurts would have been the perfect quarterback because he fits the mold as a quarterback that likes to run these different packages. He'd have been perfect. Sean Payton didn't want him. He did what he did, let him go, and then traded back, got this guy that's a Taysom Hill clone. Doesn't make any sense to me to get a Taysom Hill clone when you don't need a Taysom Hill clone. You need a Drew Brees clone. So maybe we just, you see what I'm saying? Common sense stuff with me. Jack Baptiste says, run the ball, look at San Francisco, balance. Thank you very much. I kept saying that. Copycat league. What is copycatting when you're running the football? That's nothing. That's not a nuance. That's fundamental. That's all I'm saying. I'm not stuck up on the one Super Bowl we have. I want more Super Bowls. Why? Because that's what we plan for. You've won 26 games over the last 2 years, and all you have for that is some damn things you're going to hang up in the Raptors. 13-3 NFC Championship. Nobody cares about that nonsense. The ultimate goal is a Super Bowl. And I'm not trying to rhyme. I'm just saying that's why they put on the boots. They want the Super Bowl. Why are we falling short? That's the question. The question is, why are we falling short winning Super Bowls over this time period? When was the last Super Bowl? In 2009? I mean, good grief, it's 2020. We still holding on to a Super Bowl from 20. Listen, man, y'all got to understand where I'm coming from, man. You had 3 years. You had 11 win season 3 years ago. You had a 13-3 season 2 years ago. And last year, you had a 13-3 season. And you have 0 Super Bowls. But you're proud as hell that you won the regular season. Man, I'm just telling you, man, the focus is Super Bowls. And if we're not winning that, I'm going to always be critical of the coach, especially when I'm trying to get to the bottom of why we're not winning Super Bowls. Is it the defense? If it is a talent, it is not talent. It is not anything that we're lacking. We have all the talent that we need, as proven by our domination of the NFL, even when the referees are trying to call and cheat you. You still dominated, but yet you consistently and continually falling through the goddamn flow in the playoffs. That's what I'm concerned with. That is the underlying reality. Not all this other nonsensical bull crap. Is why do you keep losing in the playoffs? And it comes back to one person, Sean Payton, who doesn't have the ability to balance his offense, and nobody around him is given the power to challenge him in that manner. Because if they had, they would have been did it. And we've had people that come on here and say that he's an egotist, that he got people, and none of them guys, Carmichael, none of them guys are going to pull his chain and say, man, you killing us. You're not running the ball. Just keeping it real. But the great Saints think tank will stand before you and yell to your face, coach, that you need to get your ass off your ego and stop when you get games against Shanahan, playing to your ego, and you need to stay disciplined and play to the strengths of these players. Use Kamara in space. Use the Latavius Murray as the short yardage back, as you lied and said he was supposed to be when you signed him, and you didn't sign Mark Ingram. I remember all that. You got to keep it to what it's supposed to be. Being that you don't have that discipline, perhaps you need to step off of that post and let somebody else do it so you can watch the whole summation of the team and not just sit there with them old thick ass glasses on reading that call sheet. Got them old thick ass glasses on and still can't see the truth. Good grief. Iceman, what up, Iceman? LGP 42. Who that to your family? Good to see you. Big ups to my dog, Willie Mitchell. Good to see you, Willie, in the stream as well. Michael Rios, what up, Mike? Good to see your family. Saw a stat on ESPN that said Jameis Winston, though, it is the Saints players 2 more times than Payton did last year. Cedric, what up, Carlito? Who that to you, my man? Carlito in the building, big ups. Cedric says, yes, you're dropping the truth about business. No doubt. Thank you, family, for that. Carlito says, who that to you, Carlito? Big ups. Jack says a lot of people still sipping the Kool-Aid from 2000. And I'm saying, man, it's 2020 right now, bro. It's 2020. Stop living off of that 2009 ass Super Bowl. We supposed to have at least 2 or 3 Super Bowls in that time frame. That's 11. That's what, 11 years? What? Goodness. Yeah, 11 years ago. Sean Payton sitting up here like he won it last year. He arrogant and cocky like you won it last year. How the hell you arrogant and cocky like that? You know what? And you sitting up, you won the last time you won a Super Bowl was 11 years ago. You living off that one Super Bowl. I'm not going to let you make it with that one goddamn Super Bowl no more, partner. Greatness is when you win multiple Super Bowls and you basically squandered all of the time Drew Brees have and then begged them back for another year. You better run that goddamn ball. That's all I know. Iceman says we had a chance to get Mahomes, Lamar, and Love You took. Not only did we all realize, Drew, it's terrible because it's the site of, are you scared to develop talent? You beg Drew to come back because I told y'all this before. It wasn't about the transition. That's another misdirection. It wasn't about the transition of having Taysom Hill to the quarterback. It was about Sean Payton's transitioning without Drew Brees. He's never had this whole time he's had Drew Brees as his quarterback. The only time he didn't was Teddy Bridgewater, and he should have kept Teddy Bridgewater. He wasn't perfect, but the limitations that Bridgewater had to the offense forced him to utilize the running game. Go look at the footage, how the Saints offense looked when they were running the ball with Teddy Bridgewater. They was winning games in a different way. It looked different. They weren't scoring the 40s and 50 points. They had a couple of outings, but they had a balanced attack, and they continued to win despite the fact that their Hall of Fame quarterback was on the bench hurt. That goes to show you that he screwed that up royally, and I told y'all that. Once he broke that trust and did what he did, that was over with. He had the man in the building. He was supposed to be the heir apparent. Now you somebody Taysom Hill. I keep telling y'all that's not it. We're going to see. Y'all going to see what I'm saying? He brought him here. He paid him 2 years. Yeah, he said, well, Q, you said 1 year. He got 2. Okay, he got 2 years. But that's not for the quarterback. You and I both know that he's paying him like that for a wide receiver. He's paying him like that for a wide receiver. Because you take a look at it, what did Emmanuel Sanders get? Let's look at the contracts, compare Emmanuel Sanders' contract to Taysom Hill's contract. You're going to play a quarterback who ain't going to be $8 million something bucks to sit there for a year or two? No, you're going to use Taysom Hill like you use Taysom Hill. You're going to use him as a running back and a wide receiver, and occasionally you're going to let him throw the ball a little bit more because Drew Brees has a problem with throwing the ball down the field, so you're going to put Taysom Hill for the deep ball throw. It's not rocket science or quantum physics, man. It's not supposed to be. Scoop says he needs to let a new offense coordinator call the plays possibly. That's what I'm saying. Why would he say, well, Q, Payton's a great play caller. Why would you take the play calling responsibilities away from him? Because there was no accountability in that scheme. There was no one that could pull his coattail and pull him. And when he does dumbass plays, they just turn their head and walk the other way. There was nobody giving Sean Payton angry looks like he gives the special teams coordinator when something happened on special team. What are people giving him angry looks? Nobody. They all turn away and walk down with their head. Nobody don't say nothing. Huh? Tell me the truth. Y'all watch it as much as I do. That's why he should not have the offensive play calling, because nobody can challenge it on him. If he get rid of the play calling duties to his offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, who's been with him for over 10 years, then and only then you can see accountability creep back into the scheme, because if Carmichael kind of scoops up a mess up, Sean Payton can get on him. That's what a head coach is supposed to be. But in this method, the head coach is the boss. I can't fuss at my boss and cuss him out and tell he's stupid. That's not a major. You see what I'm saying? But he has the power to criticize them and critique them, but nobody else has the power to do it to him. And the guys above him are not football people. they're not going to then criticize him. Jeff Ireland's not going to get on Sean Payton case and tell him, listen, here, you such and such, you better get this stuff together. You know why? Because Sean Payton has a direct relationship with Ireland's boss, who's Mickey Loomis. And if he does that, Mickey Loomis will chastise him because you can't do. See what I'm saying? We already know what time this is. That's why I said the accountability thing needs to be in this. And Sean Payton has too much power. His power needs to pull back. There need to be somebody there that's critiquing him more, his performances in these games, and not just allowing him to go on what he's doing. That's why you don't have any Super Bowls. And that's why Brandon Marshall come out and said what he said about Sean Payton continues to hurt his team. And then Sean Payton laughs it off like it's whatever. I'm just my team. I run it the way I want to. Okay, we'll see. We're going to see. All right, let's see. LPG says the last pass, go focus on here and now. Roscoe says, technically speaking, 22 top. Thank you, Roscoe. Peyton says, glass is so thick, Kamara hit. You need to get better coaches on defense to improve the linebackers. To your True Louisiana said that's like someone today here telling me Peyton calling is great. It got us a ring like it was 10 years. They say that. I've had people in the chat to say that, man, we wouldn't have a Super Bowl without Sean Payton. Partner, do you not realize that was 10 freaking years ago? What happened to last year, the year before that, the year before that? Why are you grounding out? Well, we got a Super Bowl ring. Dude, y'all, you got to focus on now, man. That Super Bowl ring is important back in 2010 or whatever. That's where it's important. Now you should have at least 2 or 3 of them. You know, you had an opportunity to win multiple. Why are you falling through the flow? And I'm not living off of that. I don't have that affliction. I don't have that mindset. Well, we got 1 Super Bowl ring. We wouldn't have it for Sean. What if it wasn't for Sean Payton? Well, you would have a lot more Super Bowl rings. You don't never know what would happen if Sean Payton was here. You don't know what other coach would have been here. Remember when they was trying to hire Sean Payton, there was 2 candidates there. It was Sean Payton and it was Gary Kubiak. People I'm not going to even get into that shit. Because you talking about if we have Sean Payton, you never know. Kubiak has multiple Super Bowls. He has more Super Bowls than Payton. But it was between Kubiak and Payton. See, I know all their history. But I ain't going to get into it. I'm going to leave it alone. Scoop says he needs a new offense. I agree with you, Scoop. Drew Goddamn B says Bill Belichick never had an ego. He knows Bill Belichick is fundamental and disciplined as hell. That's the greatness of Bill Belichick. Doing great stuff over the year because he has a system that he's mastered. And he continues to do it. He drafts players according to his system. And that's how he operates. He's under control. He's disciplined. And he follows that formula. Bottom line. Iceman saying, man, Sean Payton has to get out of his own way. Scoop says Belichick has the biggest ego there ever was, but it don't stop him from winning. He has an ego, but it doesn't get in the way of what's right. You see what I'm saying? That's how he got a lot of Super Bowls, and he's very disciplined. He sticks to the scheme. He understands running the ball and operating the pass off the run and having a good defense and stopping the run. His defenses are all hit. He's a defensive guy. His defense is always top 5, top 10 in the league, getting turnovers, helping the offense. He always has a good runner that help him in the likes and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just showing you that he has an ego. They all got egos. Everybody got ego. But he keeps himself under control in the auspices of winning games. And he never violates or disrespects the scheme. You know, and he that's why he's great. It's a reason why he's great. You don't let your ego get in the way of such things. Even if people telling you that, you still got to have a mechanism in your mind to understand, to be able to be humble and still be able to improve or innovate upon what you have. Because you have something that's good. It's not perfect. But if you're flexible enough, you can innovate your game plan, innovate your life, and keep making improvements on it. You'll innovate until you die. That's the thing. We evolve until we transition. Die means you just transition to a higher form of reality if you're fortunate. That's if you're working on the right principles, or you de-evolve to something else. But the reality into hell or whatever, you know, you made for yourself. But I'm saying that the Saints have done that. Sean Payton has these character flaws that he needs to fix. You know, and I don't know if that's the thing that we realize, and we ain't winning game because of talent. We're not losing games, should I say, because of talent. We're losing these games because Sean Payton is getting his own way because of his ego and continually not to be a balanced team. You can't get to the Super Bowl unless you're balanced. The best of the balance win in the Super Bowl. They run the ball, they play defense, and then off of that, they throw the ball. Very simple. It's just what it is, man. I remember they said Sean Payton. For somebody that tell you that one, oh, we didn't have a Super Bowl for Sean Payton. Remember when they was hiring Sean Payton, they had Gary Kubiak right there, and they were that close. And the only reason why they didn't choose Kubiak, and I'm gonna tell you why right now, and most of y'all remember it. The reason why they didn't choose Kubiak is because Kubiak wanted more money because he came from a team where he had Super Bowls as an offensive coordinator. That's what it came down to. And he wanted more money. And Tom Benson said, nope, we're going to pay the other guy. And that's how Sean Payton got the job. That's how he got the job. It was between Kubiak. They were looking at Gary Kubiak. Remember, I'm trying to tell y'all, most of y'all probably don't remember, but I remember all too well. You know, let's see. I'm going to read a few more questions. Then I'm going to shut the stream down, family. I'm going to do a quick summation of everything that I covered for those who missed it. I'm going to go over it quickly before we leave the live stream. Who that for life? Did y'all hear Brandon Marshall riding Brady's easy AFC East competition plan as saying that now since he's in NFC South winning the division, Bucks ain't going to win South since 2007. Yeah, we covered that, did a show on it, went off on him. That was a few shows ago when we went off on him. Who that for life? Chris Fields. You can look at go back and look at the shows. You can see that we went off on him. Had a pretty good show about that, by the way. Let's see who else. Scoop says Sean Payton was the kid who took the ball and left outside catching it, bro. Road Dog Smith says we need a Super Bowl ring. Iceman said I need someone to explain why some O-line blocked well for Taysom, and that was the same O-line Teddy Bridgewater went 5-0 with. Yeah, it looked like you motivated when the other guys in there, right? It's the chemistry aspect of it. I'm telling you, it's more guys, they love playing with Teddy Bridgewater, and they get up to play for certain guys versus other guys. It's just human nature. A lot of people don't hear that. Pablo, who that to you? It's been off for a while. Back on YouTube, fam. Who that? Who that to you, Pablo? Good to see you, family. No Saints says, you know what else never got in Belichick way? The AFC East. That's true. But you beat who you got in your way. If he had an easy route in the AFC and they was mostly garbage, his tougher competition was probably Miami a few years. When they would play him tough, Miami always played him tough. But you beat who you beat. That's what it is. I mean, unless they moved him to a tougher division, all you can do is beat the guy in front of you. Let's see. Roscoe says we just got to trust the scheme. Payton plans successfully, just needs to work on it when it matters more. Pablo says, what are the Saints thinking? Signing Winston? No, hell no. I hear Pablo. I will see how it pans out. But like I said, working with Drew Brees, he can teach him some stuff. And I'm more impressed, not so much of the committee, or not the committee, but more the relationship between Winston and Sean Payton as I am with Winston with Drew Brees. Stunner Rod, thank you for joining us, Stunner Rod. Much love to you. Welcome to the Great Saints Think Tank, Stunner Rod. Big ups to you, fam. Thank you for subscribing. But that's the thing, man, is that the bottom line is that if you look at, I'm more looking at the Drew Brees and Jameis Winston relationship, because I think that Jameis will learn what he didn't learn over his years working with Drew Brees. Just like Taysom Hill learned how to be a better athlete because of Drew Brees. You put on interviews, and listen, I played some here on the show, that Taysom Hill was giving much love and credit to to Drew Brees, because Drew gave him access to his trainers and everything. And since he's had those trainers, he's not been hurt. His preparation is a lot better. He's got paid now. So Drew Brees is like King Midas with a lot of the guys that choose to want to work with him. He'll share with you the resources to get in better shape. He also give you the game on being a better quarterback. And Jameis Winston need to soak up that from Drew Brees. So I'm more happy with the relationship possible between Winston and Brees than I am with Winston and Payton, because I think Brees will give him, if he listens and applies, what he's missing to really be great, because he has everything else. He has a strong arm. He can scramble and move around a bit. But the other things, the mental things and the preparation and what you're supposed to be, that maybe he can learn that from a Hall of Fame professional class act like Drew Brees. That's all I can tell you on that. Trail says, let's see. Who that to you, Trail? Roscoe says, remember a year ago when we doubted Teddy? But funny how the tables turn. Now it's Winston's turn. Well, that's true. That's a good point there, Roscoe. Norman Bradley says, shout out to you, man. I enjoyed the show. Definitely appreciate you and your opinions. Thank you, Norman. Big ups to your family. Much love to you. Appreciate your comment and your support, family. Much love to you. And to all the Great Saints Think Tank family members out there, thank you guys for being so engaging, because it's you that makes this work. Without you here, I'd be sitting up here, and I said this before, I'd be sitting up here talking to myself. I don't want to sit up here and talk to myself now. They ain't no fun. Let's talk to the Black and Gold family member. But thank you there. Appreciate you there, family. Norman, for that. Darrell, thank you, Darrell Freeman. Thank you, Darrell. Join the Saints, the Great Saints Think Tank. Thank you, Darrell. And if you aren't a member of the Great Saints Think Tank, please feel free to do what Darrell did and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you want to subscribe to the Great Saints Think Tank. We always have these discussions, and the family continues to grow. Much love to you. Let's keep it going. Keith says maybe we should hire Drew as a head coach next year. Hey, that's something else. Thank you, Keith, for that. Who that to you as well. Hopefully he'll come, and I hope that was a job that he could be the offensive coordinator. He chose to go to NBC. Hopefully, I don't know, but you know how weird things are in the world. That would have been a good thing to do. Roscoe says we should be pushing for all of our players' success, no matter who they are, because in the end, their day is giving back to our communities. Thank you, Roscoe. Well said. 985 says Debo brother. Jermaine Scope said, I think if Winston keep a level head, he'll be okay. I agree. He got everything else. He just need to get the mental aspect together. And I think that's a positive for Jameis because, you know, going through life and having all this other stuff, sometimes you get that grounded situation where you have to dig deep inside yourself and you come up with the answers. And I know Jameis Winston has the talent. He's had success. And I just want, like Roscoe said, I want all these guys to do well. Coach Payton, all of them do well. That's why we sit up here. We offer intelligence. We give up intelligence, free intelligence to them, and we know they listen to it because they take the intelligence from us, and it gets out there. Whether it's from us, circulated through media outlets that write stories on what we say, because I've seen that happen before. We've been doing it for over 5 years, so what we saying goes out because it's a unique perspective. Not everybody, so they're gonna write on it if it gives them an idea, but we want to see all of them do. We want to see all of it. I want to see everybody. I'm a prosperity guy. I want to see everybody do good. I want to see our coach win as many Super Bowls. Drew Brees does well. The whole team, everybody do well. That's why we sit up here and we critique. We want everybody to do well. And I want everybody to do well except for the Falcons. In our competition, that's pretty much it. You can't ask for nothing more than that. Let them do well without us. Every team do well except for when they face us. Let's just keep it like that. All right, Michael Real says, I think Jameis be light. Gotta remember he was running for his life in Tampa. He got sacked 47 times last year. He can slow the game down with a better O-line like yours. That's a great point, Michael. Thank you for that, sir. Big ups to you. Let's see, 100% UCE, hashtag who that, hashtag who that family, American Samoa. All right, big ups to you. Good to see your family in the chat as well. Good to see you, American Samoa. Big ups to your family. Welcome to the live stream. Let's see. Joshua says, hey, Big Q, I want your opinion on what you got there, Josh. I don't see what you're asking on. I don't see your question there. Let's see. Big Chief, the Big Chief. What up, Big Chief? He said, just join. Good content. Thank you, Big Chief. Good to see you on the live stream, family. Much love to you. Who that to you, family. Good to see you there. Road Dog Gets Me says, does PRO Media Network have a Discord? Not yet, bro. We're working on it. A lot of stuff kind of got slowed down a bit, dealing with everything we're going through, but we are definitely working on the Discord. We're trying to arrange all this social media stuff and get it together. We're working on it, bro. So just be mindful that might be coming up in the next 2 or 3 days. So just keep a lookout for it. Zach Johnson, from a Bucks fan, I certainly didn't expect this. LOL. What up, Zach? Good to see you, Zach. Zach is one of our many other Bucks extended family members that come in, likes the Sports Coma, and that's another great thing about the live stream. We have Saints, we have Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, Atlanta Falcons, Carolina people, Tennessee Titans, Raiders. It don't matter. A lot of people from all over, they come and they listen to the show despite the fact that they are fans of other teams because they enjoy the content. I thank Zach for joining us. And Zach always comes in. He's very respectful. Darrell says, I've been watching for a minute, about time I joined. Thank you, Darrell. Appreciate that. Iceman says, yeah, you was laughing yesterday, Q, but it's true. Drew stunk up the joint. Yep. You right, Iceman. You right, brother. You're usually right on point. L-Dog. What up, L-Dog? Long time no see, brother. He says, once Drew teach how to get the ball out fast, he might turn into something serious. He has everything. Jameis has everything. It's always been a mindset thing, and that perhaps he didn't have the proper mindset because he's been getting past on his talent alone. Now, when you put the mind and the talent together with Drew, expect big things from Jameis Winston if you think about it. Jesselo 12 says, why didn't we get a linebacker, a free agent earlier? Can't answer that, man. I was looking at Nigel Bradham that I think should have been a really interesting brain. They could have brought him in here. Just didn't work out. We'll see how they add him later. Let's see. Demi says, well, thanks, Q family. Keep a praying spirit. Good night. Thank you, Demi. Heavy C says, I'm going to donate to the Great Saints Tank with my stimulus checks. Thank you, Heavy C. Appreciate you, brother. Much love to you. Crash says, hey, Q, I may have missed it, but what are your thoughts on Marquez Callaway from Tennessee and the chances he could win a Saints roster spot? I'm still doing research on Marquez. I was looking at some of his statistics, bro. I didn't get a chance to look at his highlights yet, Crash. So just let me reserve that for a second, my brother. And when we come out next week, I'm gonna do a video covering all of our undrafted guys, exclusively a video about the undrafted guys. I'm gonna show you their measurables and break down, watch over the film and then give you a breakdown in the video next week. I haven't got a chance to look at all of this stuff, so just give me some time to look it up, and I promise you I'm gonna come out with a video in the near future with all the undrafted guys on there with their breakdowns. Thank you, brother. Metalhead says, remember safety Tommy Meyer back in the Ain't days. Tommy Meyer, that sounds familiar, bro. Stunner TB OTB, hello, bro. What up to you, Stunner? Good to see you. Big ups to your family. Roscoe says, Q, you're a knowledgeable, wise man. I have nothing but love, respect for you, but I cannot agree with your last podcast on PJ Williams. We even argued about it for a good last minute. Now we changing on it. I said, as a safety, Roscoe as a safety, I have absolutely problem with PJ. But you yourself said you were defending PJ Williams, and you said you said, Q, I can't defend him no more. You're right. You remember that? Do you remember that, Roscoe? You remember that, my brother? But yeah, if he's playing safety, Roscoe, I'm with you, man. I'm with you, fam. I'm with you on PJ Williams. If we could play him at safety like we agreed to, I'm good with that. Because he is good. I love him as a safety, just not at the cornerback. But, they finally got it right, so that's much love there. Let's see. Scoop says, let's see. Iceman says, I know this guy is the worst fear. Stunner says, what do you think we need? What else do we need, Stunner, for the Saints? We could use another wide receiver or so. Perhaps another pet. And I would like to get another edge rusher. We could use a linebacker. Throw him in there. Maybe another speedster running back to add in the mix to kind of throw into camp. And I don't think the Saints really need too much else. I think we're solving a lot of it. Thank you for the question there, Stunner. Shandon says Winston had over 600 pass attempts last year. Damn. Joshua says, Big Q, what's your opinion on saying the best play of the Saints, the Gleason punt got to be one of the top plays, man. When the dome opened, that was just an iconic moment. The dome was renovated. The city was getting football again. And it was the first home game since Katrina decimated the dome in the city. And it was all brand new and fixed up, and everybody was back in there. And when he blocked that punt, that was one of the iconic moments. Because outside of that, Gleason was really nothing but a very abnormal player at best. I mean, he was a good special teams player, but nothing special anywhere else. When he blocked that punt, it was the iconic moment that showed that the city was back and that the Saints was back. So you hard pressed to find a play that you could put above that one, and meaning and everything else. Now, of course, one of the plays that stick in my head behind that is Drew Brees holding his baby with the Super Bowl confetti falling on his baby when he was there and the baby was reaching for the confetti when they won the Super Bowl. That's another one that kind of stick on great plays in my head. Thanks for that question. Zach says, at least we'll be able to see again. This offseason has been interesting in a good way. Data says Payton has been known quietly as a QB whisperer. Roma, Drew, Teddy, he knows a little something. Thank you for that, Data. Metalhead says Winston can throw for 400 yards, 4 TDs. The problem is 6 interceptions that come with it. Thank you, Metalhead. Big ups to you. Roscoe says, Troutman, I'm telling you, Q, make a shirt, kid's a beast. I know about I was watching a little bit on Troutman and his footage there, bro. He definitely has some pizzazz, no doubt about it. I'm glad to have a tight end like him, big tight end that can run, that can catch. He's going to really, really do some big things in the future for the Saints. Big ups to that, no doubt about that. Glenn, who that? Glenn, he says Jameis got LASIK surgery. Let's see if that makes a difference. He can see better. Let's hope that. Zach says, personally, I think we should have kept Jameis and let him train under Brady. Maybe he could have learned something. He'll learn what he learned under Drew, and hopefully it'll be enough to help him become more positive, whether he play for us or anybody. Just having a man just not have dysfunction. Good night, fam. I donate bleach from down. Roscoe says, I do remember as a safety, you were right. My apology. That's right, fam. Me and you know how it go, fam. Great content. I'd agree with you a lot. What is being discussed 100%. Thank you 100%. UCE, hashtag who that, hashtag thank you for your comment as well, family. Much love to you and all the family members as well. I see Hayward Expos. What up, fam? He says, love your show, bro. Thank you, family. Thank you for that comment and that support. Much love to you. 985 says, Alive says the 30 interceptions Winston got was mostly on his receivers. Dada says Tony Jones, Jr. running back. Notre Dame looks strong and a hard zone runner. Yeah, he's a big physical running back that fits the mold of the guys we have, Latavius Murray and Dwayne Washington. Hopefully we use guys like that more. Crass says people also forget he was the first pick in the draft too. I'm not down on Jameis. Coach him up. Thank you, Crass. Jason says can't wait to watch Roach highlights. Scoop says, hey, what big ups to you, fam. The True Louisiana says many Heisman Trophy winners are bust, and that don't mean nothing. In the NFL, that was college. Thank you, family. Pablo says excited about the O-line. Really happy they signed Adrian McGee. Brings D memories of the play when he pancaked the defender twice last year on the same play. Twice. I remember that. Yep. Roscoe says Winston, 30 interceptions, 47 sacks. That's unheard of in New Orleans, but it won't happen in Saints uniform. Josh Hoover says, I gave Louisiana and the Who Dat Nation his voice back and made the NFL realize the Who Dat Nation survived, thrived, and overcame. We are always going to have each other's back. Who Dat for life. Thank you, Josh. Much love to your family for that. Scoop says 12 and 22 personnel is going to be fired this year. Stunner says, do you think we're going to see some football this year? No doubt about it, Stunner. I think we're going to see some football this year, family. No doubt about it. We're going to see some football this year. You might not see some of the fans in the seats, but you're going to see football in some capacity. That's already been saying. You can carry the games on. Just don't have the people. And the reason why I think now that the economy shut down, they're not just going to fire it up like that. I know a lot of people want to fire it up right there, but they got certain elements that shut it down for a reason and won't release it until the people acquiesce to certain things, and that depended upon you. So I covered it on the show On Q with Big Q. We released one today. It's only available to our Patreon people and also our members of this channel. Is hidden content what we share with some of the family members. On Q with Big Q is a show where we cover a lot of stuff outside of football. So if you're interested in that, please join our Patreon and hear the show On Q with Big Q. Also, we do other Saint-related shows, the Sports Coma, on our Patreon page, unreleased content that we do as well. So it's some perks to it as well. Thank you for that, family. Let's continue. Metalhead says if we give Winston free crab legs, we'll have him we'll give him free time to learn. Crash says you guys know that Jameis isn't starting right. Let the kids sit, learn, and see if he's worthy of developing after the GOAT retires. Very well said, Crash. Thank you for that. Josh says no BS. We need to get big on our ESPN and watch him burn everyone with his knowledge and personality. Hashtag Big Q. Yes. Bro, you can't. It's Big Q is this format is probably big because I could talk to people, man. I don't care who they are. If you talking football or whatever you talking, I can be able to sit there and have a discussion with you, because I feel we can learn from everybody. Everybody I come in contact with, I try to learn something from them, or I try to leave something empowered. We have an exchange of ideas because I think people share with you, I think people give you something and you can get something from people, whether it's a good or bad exchange. You can learn something from people. And then again, if you rise above it all, you realize there's no such thing or as good or bad. It's merely an experience. And if you learn from it, it's all those things are positives. If you grow from them, it's all positives. So really, if you think about it, if you had a good or bad experience with something, you've learned something from it. You turn that negative into a positive if you learn something from it. So, I mean, that's my mindset. So I can sit down and talk sports with anybody, man. It don't matter what craft you come from or where you are. But I appreciate the comment, fam. Much love to you, Joshua. Big ups to you. Kevin says, hit the like button. Yes, fam. Thank you, family. We're approaching 2 hours and just over 2 hours and 45 minutes. I appreciate all the beautiful Black and Gold family members for chiming in the show. Please hit the like button. We got 118 likes in the live stream. I thank you for that. If you're not a subscriber, feel free to subscribe enjoying the show. Van Ward, what up, Van? Good to see your family. Says Winston is good, back up, not a starter. Roscoe says, Q, what's your plans tonight? You and your wife or kids got something going on, just looking for ideas for my family to do, family. Well, family, not much going on tonight. I was probably going to sit back and watch a movie and stuff like that. Nothing really outside of that. Sit down, eat something, maybe drink a beer, watch a movie, something, family related like that. My family, not too much drastic, fam. Thank you for that, though. Michael says Zach Bond looked good on field, no doubt about it. Michael, I like Zach Bond. I think it was a terrific move getting him. He will be a really big piece of the Saints defense. I love Zach Bond. I love what he brings. Love his attitude, everything. Drew Goddamn Bree says Winston is eating W's cooked now. Yeah, he's now doing. He's going to be eating W's down here in New Orleans, no doubt about it. Crash says, born as a dog, he thought he was gone in the first round. Chip on his shoulder, much like Chauncey did last year. Justin Knox says, when the Saints would run the ball in the playoffs, not only would we not run the ball enough, but when we did, we would go nowhere. He said, when the Saints would run the ball in the playoffs, not only would we not run the ball enough, but when we did, we go nowhere. And there's a way to it too, bro. It depends. If you, let's say, for instance, you go to a power I running game, and the Saints know that they can also spread you out. So what do? It depends on what the defense is giving you. Like, say, for instance, if you have a situation where you have the power I think the Saints run the power I formation. They don't run it enough, but they used to run it to perfection. Nola E74, thank you for subscribing, family. Thank you. Much love to you. Welcome to the Great Saints Think Tank. And just to answer that question, I think it's the Saints didn't run the ball well in the game. And usually you got to use your fullback. You put some tight ends in there. There's different plays that you can call dealing with whatever they running. There's a counter play for every play. That's how it's designed. And the Saints merely, I ain't going to say they wasn't serious about running the ball, but running the ball is an attitude. It's an attitude that you got to have because it's my will versus your will. And if my line is pissed off enough, we can get them yards. And if I need a yard or two, I tell that line, look here, you big son of a guns. I tell you what you're going to do. I need 2 yards for a first down, and you better get me them goddamn yards. If you want to go to the Super Bowl, we need 2. It's a way you can talk and get them guys bucked up. Thank you for joining that, family. Appreciate you. And that's what my spiel would be. It's an attitude. It takes attitude to run the ball. You can't get up in there dead and shit. The people will throw you all the way around. It's a contest of willpower. Who has the will to dominate is usually going to win a game. And everybody got muscles out there. Everybody big. Everybody lift weights. But what separate the good guy from the other guy is something inside that you can't put on some goddamn weight machine and lift. Everybody lift weights, and all of them taking that stuff as well. But that just levels off the playing field. Everything else is mental. You have to have the mindset to dominate your opponent. That's what it's about. We talk about skills. We talk about all this other stuff, but it always comes back to the power of the mind, doesn't it, family? No matter where I go or where I come from, it always cycles back to the power of your mind. And what are you willing to do? You must dominate your opponent and take their will away from them. And that's what the Saints didn't do with the Minnesota Vikings last year. It didn't show up. They left them around in the game. They didn't have no will, and they just wasn't there. And that's due in part because of the coach. You have to have a will to dominate. Ask Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's will to dominate was unbelievable. His preparation was unbelievable. They call it killer instinct. It is the will to dominate. It's the will to win. And that is something that you must have. Are you that dog now where I'm saying you in terms of the team, you have lost your will to win? You win in the playoffs, but where your will went in the playoffs, period. You win in the regular season, but where's the will in the playoffs? Where was your will and your mindset when you let this team beat you in your own building? And this team humiliated you 3 years earlier. You had an opportunity to get revenge on this team, and you let it slip by. Where is your will? Where is the mind to dominate the line of scrimmage in the playoffs? Where is the will and the discipline that comes with not committing mistakes that hurt yourself against the opponent? Where is that will? That's a part of it because they all lift weights. They all run. They all jump. They all study each other's weaknesses. When you go, they can have your entire playbook. But if you have the will to dominate, ain't a damn thing they can do about it. Mike Thomas has the will to dominate. He practices like he wants to dominate. DeMario Davis the same way. The greats always do, but it must permeate throughout the entire team. The coach must have the mentality so that he then spread it through his team. If the will to dominate is lacking, you're going to give half-ass results. You're going to get 13-3 regular seasons culminated with disastrous playoff results. You got to have the will to dominate, fam. It goes back to the mind, doesn't it? Let's see. Kevin says a nation suckers coming to theaters. Derek Big Key said, watch the movie. I still believe I watched it with the family early. Great family movie. Thank you, fam. Roscoe says sports cards are back, yo, and basketball is hot. Need some Zion Williamson cards. Willing to pay. Stunner says, what do you think about the linebacker we took in the draft? Do you think he's going to be productive in the Saints uniform? Stunner, I think he will be absolutely terrific. The Saints will use him at the inside. He can play him at inside, outside. His speed, the guy's intelligent. And then the thing is, what I'm really excited about is his application as a situational pass rusher. I think as a situational pass rusher, this guy could be huge. He could be a huge factor for the Saints moving forward because of his situational abilities. And that means coming in there on third down and getting up under those big watch the footage on him get up under those big offensive linemen he was rushing against. He has an incredible quick step. And once he gets around that guy, it's a straight line to the quarterback. And I think that will be one of the biggest things that help the Saints because that pass rushing edge will be tremendous. We've been lacking that. Outside of Davenport and Cam Jordan, who's coming off of surgery, and Davenport, who has a question mark after being injured the last couple of years, what can I tell you? You have those guys behind those guys. You could say Trey Hendrickson. He's been more injured than Davenport. Then two question marks in Granderson and Noah Spence. This guy has done it. He's a guy that can get it. He had like 12 and a half sacks last year. The guy can get after it. And I think the Saints need to add another veteran player to the mix, whether it's Matthews or Marcus Golden or Everson Griffin would be my favorite. Will let me know that you're serious about winning. Will let me know because we need pressure. We need sacks on the quarterback to kind of dig deeper to that playoff race. Okay, thank you, family. Appreciate you. Jack says, I really like Malcolm Roach sign. I hope he makes the team. He'll be a dog. I think he might be that Jim in this year's undrafted free agents. He could be Malcolm Roach. I like his name, man. A lot of people like his name. Kevin says, I'm going to get that audiobook. Roscoe says, was hoping I can get an autograph. All right, family. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate the love there, family. I'm going to then turn around, family. Let me go back and kind of go back over some of the stories that we covered early on before the show started, just to summarize what we did up to this point. And Taysom Hill, the Saints make Taysom Hill one of the highest paid backup quarterbacks in the NFL after signing him to a 2-year extension. He'll make $21 million with his new deal with the Saints. The Saints are also looking at him. And this is the thing about the Taysom Hill sign that's interesting. 2-year extension, $21 million. I could see the Saints utilizing him as a wide receiver and running back and all this kind of stuff. This is just what it's going to be. I could see him probably utilized as a quarterback some because of and that's simply because of Drew Brees and throwing the football. So we'll see how that shakes. But that's a story we covered earlier today. I think it's a good move to get him back here. Jameis Winston turned down better contract offers to pursue the Saints. And I think that was a smart move by Jameis Winston, who signs a 1-year contract to come and play for New Orleans. I think it's a terrific move for him because what it does is he'll then learn the position behind a Hall of Famer who has done it right for his entire career. Having that tutelage and having that mentorship from Drew Brees, to me, will be a big help to Jameis Winston. All he has to do is just accept it. Accept that help. And he'll be fine. And then to go to the final story, we talk about the Saints undrafted free agency tracker. As it stands right now, the Saints did add Adrian McGee, former offensive lineman from LSU, to the mixture. It's also wide receiver from Tennessee, Marquez Callaway, Kelvin Throckmorton, offensive lineman from Oregon, Darren Paulo, offensive lineman from Utah, Jordan Steckler, is the O-lineman from Northern Illinois. Big defensive tackle from Texas, Malcolm Roach. Tony Jones Jr., the big running back from Notre Dame. Joe Bashie, inside linebacker from Michigan State. Keith Washington, defensive back from West Virginia. He's 6 feet tall. Gus Cumberlander, big defensive end from Oregon. Jawan Johnson, 6'4", 230 pound wide receiver from Oregon will be interesting. Tino Ellis, he's a 6-footer from Maryland, a defensive back. Blake Gillikin, a punter from Penn State coming in. And then, of course, Adrian McGee, the offensive lineman for LSU. So that is who the team has picked up thus far in undrafted free agency. That's what it is. And of course, a lot happened today. Adding Jameis Winston, re-ing up with Taysom Hill, and then adding Adrian McGee to the mixture with the undrafted guys. And there should be more moves on the way in the future. So we're going to keep an eye out on this, guys. And like I said, later on, next week we'll do a show which we cover the undrafted free agents and break them down, show you, talk about how tall they are, how big they are, look at some of their scouting reports as well, and go through the list so we'll be aware on that stuff. So first of all, I'd like to thank the family members for joining us as we're approaching our 3-hour mark. I'd like to thank all the beautiful Black and Gold family members for joining the live stream today. And as always, family, I'd like to let the family members know about Pro Radio, the PRO Media Network on Spreaker.com/thesportscoma it's called Pro Radio. And there you can join up to listen to the audio streams from the Sports Coma, Pelican Post Game Report, Ring King Boxing, and Tough Tiger Talk. All that in this audio format is available on Spreaker.com/the Sports Coma, Spreaker.com/the Sports Coma. We also on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Apple Podcasts, and most of all of the great platform providers. We are there as well. Also, let the family members know that if you like the show, enjoy the show, please feel free to join the patreon.com to help to build the platform, promote the platform. If you enjoy our shows or whatnot, please go to patreon.com/the PRO Media Network to join up. You there will post unreleased content from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Also, the new show On Q with Big Q. We talk about stuff outside of politics, entertainment, and all this other kind of stuff. It's covered on Q with Big Q. It's currently, I think, 3 shows of On Q Big Q that's available on our patreon.com. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to go to patreon.com/the PRO Media Network and sign up for that unreleased content. That is we've been really happy about that, by the way. We've been doing On Q Big Q. Really good show today, by the way. And also to let family members know that the Pro Media Shop is also available. We also have merch for the platform, about over 34, 35 different designs on everything: smartphone cover cases, shirts, leggings, socks, coffee mug, all kind of stuff, man. Hundreds of products are available, and we just released several new shirts available, and including the Drew Orleans shirt, built Drew Tough, Drew Orleans Tough, I think it is. The Great Saints Think Tank shirt as well. All that's available on the Pro Shop. And remember, with the product code Stay Strong, one word, Stay Strong, lowercase, you can get 15% knocked off the price upon checkout. That way, I know it's kind of tough times we're dealing with right now, just to offer some sort of discount to the family members for all that they do to help the platform out. Also, you can help the platform out by simply taking the links from the YouTube page and sharing them on your social media feed. That is very impactful too. So that helps us out a lot, true. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man, for all the support y'all do. Who that to you, Larry Franco? Who that from Bakersfield, California? Wow, Bakersfield. Good to see your family. Welcome to the live stream as well. Big ups to you. Much love to you on that. And I'd like to thank all the beautiful Black and Gold family members for chiming in today on the Sports Coma. Madge Prime, who that to you? Good to see your family, Teal, and the rest of the family. Much love to y'all as well. Thank y'all, family. We'll be back later next week. We'll have a show. We'll do a show covering the undrafted guys. Like I say, we'll have a few more videos coming out and all that kind of beautiful stuff. We'll have all that down the line. So once again, thank you guys. Love y'all. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button, family. And also remember, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Don't matter if it's Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, wherever you socialize. feel free. You're more than welcome to take the show links with you and share them in your social media feed. Because if you enjoy it, I'm pretty sure a lot of other people will enjoy it as well. And don't forget the merch is available too. All that information is in the description section below this video. So thank y'all for joining us. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all stay strong. I'll see you later. Peace. Who that?
Yeah. Well, all right. Like you always say, welcome, welcome, welcome. Number one sports talking D. We ain't like the Falcons, we won't blow the lead. Look, all we talk is who that, who got cut and who back. Rookies and the vets, players you should look at. It's the sports coma, you don't wanna miss it. Got the pre-game party, post-game statistics. Get a visit from Sway, maybe DC or 5. It's the hottest thing smoking, Big Q and the guys. Go to YouTube Live, make sure you subscribe. Interviews inside the Saints locker room high. Talk to Drew, Jordan, Zach, Payton, New Orleans, who that nation. Best believe when I say we bleed gold and black. Ain't a miracle or rivalry could ever hold us back. No, Beastquake, Bounty Gate, let the truth be told. It's the sports coma, all we know is Saints Super